so many shows.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the interesting things about this is how many of us had you guys had shows that I never even watched it or even thought about watching. I probably heard about most of them, but
Yeah.
are we live right now?
We're live now,
Says we
streaming
are.
on Facebook.
All right. Hey everybody. If you are here with us on the Facebook, we are live. I'm just seeing Andy's smiling face. Oh, now he looks like he's grimacing. Oh, look, there's Mike. Oh, look, it's me. Okay, I'm gonna
You
put
know,
that
you can
down.
change that so you can see us all, Axel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's a
how do
grid
I
view.
do it?
Up in the top right corner, view.
Okay. Yeah. View
Click it. Yeah.
gallery.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Oh, okay, great. Now everybody can see us all at once. Okay, that's cool. So I am talking. I am not CE Pictures. I am Axel. Oh, look. Now I look like I'm in Mindhunter. I'm being tell us, where is the body? We want to welcome everyone to the Daily DVR 2020 Top TV Party. We're live on Facebook. I want to start off the show just saying that Heath Solo is not with us today. You know, traditionally, he and I have done this for so many years, and we miss him today. We love him. He might stop by and join us, but probably not. So always in our hearts is Heath Solo. So let's take a moment of silence. I'm just kidding. All right, Heath, we love you, but we got a show to do. So we got great guests here today. I even had something that I wrote up that I'm going to go over to. And let's see. I did take a fair amount of drugs before we started, so hopefully I'll make it through.
Oregon, baby.
All right, here we go. Let's see. We've got a home number guess. So I'm just gonna go around and introduce everybody. And when I introduce everybody, please, you don't just have to say hello. What I'd love to hear from you right off the bat is your thoughts on this year of TV overall. What kind of trends you might have seen, what things you enjoyed. Maybe it has to do with COVID, whatever you want to say. You know, we've got a lot of people on. So when you get the mic, take your opportunity. So I'm going to start this with someone who totally does not want me to call on her first. She already knows that I'm calling on Jenni. All right, Jenni, you're first.
I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
All right.
As far as like my thoughts on TV in 2020, I mean, it's been weird because the schedules for things got interrupted, and then, you know, release dates got pushed back and things like that. And then I remember when we were talking about Yellowstone, we discussed, you and I and Heath, about the if they were to bring in the whole mask wearing in the next season, and we thought that like on that show that it might take away from the show. But there's other shows that have brought it in and it goes well with their storylines, and so that's been okay. So it's just different. It's been a very different year for TV viewing, but I've had a lot of shows that I really enjoyed. Some of them were ones that I've, you know, watched over several years, but this year I was like, again, reminded how good that show was. But others, like, it's just popping up, like the different stuff on Netflix that I've watched. Gina and I both pulled the Cursed in there, and I was like, I had to like go through my Netflix list to see stuff so that I could I was like, oh yeah. So anyway, that's my thoughts. And who's next, Axel?
All right, and I was muted. But you could hear me on the podcast portion because it's recorded differently, but that's too technical. Thank you, Jenni. That's Jenni. Next up, we have Gina. Gina, welcome to the show. What would you like to say about this year of TV?
Well, thanks, Axel. I mean, thank goodness for TV, right? Because we've all had to spend so much time inside, and I took it as an opportunity to both kind of, you know, rewatch some old series favorites. I think The Office and West Wing were a couple that made it in there. You know, kind of needed some feel good stuff, but then also kind of needed some stuff that was like darker and twistier than the time that we're going into. So some of those made my top 10 list, which I know we're going to get into. But I have to say, just in terms of the whole coronavirus and COVID-19, that a show that came back on this fall that I was really kind of interested in seeing how they handle it, because I think they cut the season short last year, as all this was happening, was Grey's Anatomy. And they've done an amazing job of, I mean, basically it's all about the coronavirus and, kind of everything you'd imagine that our frontline workers are going through. So kind of a little shout out to them. And then, thank goodness the Station 19 eye candy's back, because that show does not disappoint. They've got the prettiest men, women, something for everyone on that show, I just have to say. So I was very happy to see that come back this fall.
Awesome. Yes. I am very interested in Grey's Anatomy, actually, because I've been listening to that TV's Top 5 podcast, and one of the hosts is a big fan. So they've been talking about how they've been dealing with it on the show. And Meredith has COVID, right? Am I spoiling?
Yeah, a
She
couple
does.
a couple of the doctors have COVID. Someone's lost a parent due to it on the show.
Okay.
And yeah, they've gone into teen partying without masks. I mean, they've kind of covered every annoying aspect of this so far. So it's been pretty interesting.
It is. That is very cool. All right. Next up is our man, the host of the One Mic podcast, as well as YouTube. He's taking over YouTube one video at a time. Michael Lacombe, what's up, pal?
What's up, man? I appreciate that nice little intro. You're making me sound like I'm doing way better stuff than I am. But
Awesome.
man, I think one of my biggest takeaways from TV this year, and we say this every year, but I think as the years pass, it gets more and more pronounced, is the streaming services war. And in HBO and Netflix, I like looking at my list, especially taking honorable mentions into account. HBO and Netflix completely dominated. And then you look at HBO, even they're putting out HBO Max originals that are great. So it's like HBO is just all over the place, putting out great material, like back to back to back. Like there used to be that, and you think about when we were watching Game of Thrones, like, once Game of Thrones went off, it's like, okay, there might be a couple months, and then it's like, all right, let's watch Westworld. And then a couple months go by, let's watch this other thing. And it's like right now, HBO is like, hey, you just enjoyed that one show. Here's something new that you're going to like starting the very next week. Here's something that we're going to stream on HBO Max that's completely original. That's also awesome. And then you got Netflix pumping out new stuff, good stuff, almost on a weekly basis. So the streaming wars, I think HBO and Netflix have put themselves apart from everyone else. And I'm just astounded at the high quality of content that's coming to streaming, as opposed to like theaters or television, as far as like, in the traditional sense, like cable. Let me turn on FX. And FX is obviously still doing great stuff, because I got a couple FX shows on here too. But it's amazing to me the quality and volume combined of content that we're getting out of these streamers. That's been one of my favorite aspects of 2020. And real quick, before I was about to pass it off to someone else, but I want to mention this one last thing. I like how some of these streamers have adapted their release schedule to kind of like meet the needs of everyone. Because you got a lot of people who are like, oh, I want to binge this. And then you got people who are like, I want to watch this week to week. And then you get something like HBO Max is like, okay, here's the first 3 episodes. Okay, next week, here's another 2. Next week, here's another 2. And it's like you get that feeling of like, oh, I can enjoy multiple episodes of this show at one time, but I also still have to wait for next week to see what happens. You can get the time to build up that anticipation. And I thought HBO Max and Amazon in particular did a great job with that.
Yes, most definitely, man. It's really amazing. Like you said, every time I like HBO Max came to Roku, what was that, like a day ago, maybe 2 days
Yeah.
ago? And I hadn't looked at it for a little bit because I had to keep on putting my PS4 on to watch HBO Max, because usually I'm doing the Roku. And there was like 3 series that just popped on there that are not on HBO. And I was like, what's this? Like all these interesting shows and dumping older shows. Like they just put on all 5 seasons of Southland. If you're not a fan, go back and watch that. That show is amazing. And they just put it on there with like no fanfare. You're right. It's just like continual content, too many things. It's like today, Andy did our great spreadsheet for this show. How many shows were there, Andy? 108 or something?
Well, after you added a whole bunch at the last minute, I think it's almost like 117 or 18, something
Wow.
like that. Different shows.
I screwed up the 108 number. Oh no.
Yep, you messed that up, buddy. So that's on you.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and
Damon.
speaking of series, I just wanted to put out here that I'm almost caught up on The Expanse. So
Nice.
give me like another couple of days. I'll be caught up before Amazon puts out more new episodes.
Yeah, that's right. And I like what you said too, Mike, about how people are trying out different things. Cause like Raised by Wolves was like 3, 2, 2, and that, so I like that variety. All right, coolio. Well, we already heard from him a little bit. Let's talk to Andy, what do you have to say, buddy?
Well, about the same as always, probably too much, but let's see. First thing is there's 117 shows. I looked at the notes here. 117 shows that were mentioned by 13 different people total. So,
wow.
As far as thoughts on this year, I echo a lot of what Mike said. The amount of shows is just crazy, and I like how the streamers have started to change their release schedules a little bit. The one thing I hope that they do start doing is instead of dropping stuff at 5 o'clock in the morning, go 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, so it's more like an HBO premiere. Like there was an episode of The Mandalorian where something massive happened yesterday, and spoilers were, if you were on the internet early in the morning, it was spoiled for anybody. I had 3 or 4 friends call me like, dude, what happened? I looked and
I still haven't watched it yet. Please don't spoil me.
Oh, I'm not going to. But
Andy
that's
texted me and I stayed off the internet all day yesterday.
I think a lot of that could be solved if they just, why not put them live at 8 o'clock at night so everybody can kind of watch it at the same time, or more people can. That's my only minor complaint about it. As far as the actual TV, I think this year there's not quite as many all-time classic TV seasons, but there is so many good to great seasons of TV. Yeah. Even when I was compiling that spreadsheet, a lot of the shows that you guys have put on that I hadn't watched, I just checked out an episode here or there, just kind of get a feel for it. And it's all good. I mean, there's so much good stuff. It's not like there's just 20 great shows. There's 100 great shows. So it's a great time for TV.
Yeah, it really, wow. 107. You think about like even 5 years ago that we would be like, wow, there's 50 different shows that were, you know what I mean, on a list. And then if you go back like 15 years, it would be like, wow, there's 20 different shows on everyone's list. It's crazy. All right. Well, last but not least, he's the man of the hour, the Tower of Power. He will devour. It is DJ Timm Hines.
What's happening, everybody? Thanks for that crazy intro, Axel. So 2020 has been a hell of a year, and I definitely appreciate the podcasts that we've all been involved with or put out or talked about or listened to, because that always complements these shows so well. And I feel like being there's so many shows, so many different people covered so many different things on, every network, because, not just the DVR network, but like every podcast outlet had something to watch, to talk about differently, which I thought was great. And I thought the amount of shows that came out was pretty incredible for what we were going through. But then it kind of dawned on me, say like 3/4 of the way through like the year, that the way TV's made, so many things are in the can and done and waiting to roll out, that we got somewhat of an early taste of some things I feel like would have been held for the year, but they gave it to us early. But then they a lot of these services shot their load. Whereas like now there's not much that's been in production. Like what they did with Euphoria recently was incredible, because they were able to distance the whole set. They were able to figure out how to work it through the pandemic with a limited cast. There was really only 2 stars or 2 actors, really, maybe a waitress, in the whole episode, which was, I felt, really unique. But it makes me a little worried as to what if we're going to get a lull now. I know some people were able to go back to work for a while, but now that the shutdowns are back and there's so many SAG rules, like just listening to Heath's podcast to find out how you get things done during the pandemic seems like, way harder, way slower. So Um, that being said, I started to notice so many things that I did watch and I was trying to put on this list were not from this year. They were picked up by one of these streaming services that was a 2019 or 18 show in Australia or Germany. That would, I was watching some dubbed shows, different things. And it was a little muddy trying to really, when I made my list, I'm like, oh, wait, that wasn't really this year. I just watched it this year. Like I did a lot of catching up also on shows that I haven't seen before. Like one show I didn't put in my list, but I really enjoyed it. And I never watched it before. I think it's on like the 30th season, was The Amazing Race. That
Nice.
to me, that was really fun. Like something I would not have watched. I've seen a couple years ago because if I'm not mistaken, it used to be on right before Lost on obviously different network. But I used to go to my buddies to watch Lost after work, and I would get there a little early. He'd be finishing Amazing Race, and then we go right into Lost. So that was the only taste of it I got. But this year I actually sat down and enjoyed this season because it was just something different. And I'm starting to look for different things to watch. And I'm enjoying just looking at the lists that everybody sent in. This is, aside from highlighting what we liked so much, this has given me a whole new list of things to check out.
Yeah, baby. Most Stefanato. That's what I'm saying. This list was crazy, man. I said to everybody, okay, put your list on a sheet, and Andy's just going to do a little spreadsheet. And, I thought at the end we'd have a list of like I was saying, like 20, 25 shows. And then it was just so overwhelming. And I'm looking at these and it's really giving me, actually, one of the questions that I was going to ask later on in the show was like, which one of these shows that you're now hearing of do you now want to go watch? Because even for us who know so many different shows, it's like shows that you've, maybe not heard of or didn't even give a chance to. But all right, we hit everybody. I'm
Well,
trying to. Oh, go. Are you done?
real quick.
Keep on going, DJ.
No, just to add to that, like last year when we did this, it was almost replicated lists, just in different orders. And it was the same 12, 15 shows.
Yeah.
And this year, I think the fact that everybody had time to settle down and take TV at their own pace, and like Mike said, the week to week thing, I mean, that really changed the game. We hadn't had the week to week thing in 3-4 years, unless you're watching network. So this was it slowed us down a little bit, gave us something to anticipate, which I feel like maybe is another method to revisit, because that does slow down life a lot, especially when we're doing podcasts, because I could binge the show and I'll know everything that happened, but Axel might want to watch it week to week and put out a podcast, or year to year, like Mindhunter with Heath.
Yeah.
And, you have to wait, and I'm like, I've seen it already. I want to know what they think, and it's kind of gets frustrating. But now, like, maybe this is like the kind of pause we all needed in society, because we were all rush. Everybody's consuming at their own rate. But now we're back onto that thing where we can have the water cooler chat. Like, oh, did you see it last night? Yeah, I saw it last night. It's cool. Did you watch both episodes? Yeah, they were great. So hopefully that changes a little bit.
Yeah. Good point, DJ. I think that what you mentioned about there being a lull, I do think that we should be entering into it between like January and September, but I feel like it may be filled by a lot of reality shows went back into production.
Variety shows type
Yeah,
things.
and like you're saying, smaller productions that don't need as many people or crowds. So that's going to be very interesting. And I'm like, my gosh, we see what happened with movies. I just watched Tenet, and that was literally the first movie that I had been interested in watching in 9 or 10 months. New movie. I mean, I've never experienced that in my life, and I think TV kind of fills that void, but it's just, takes a lot longer to make film. So that is going to take even longer to catch back up. Whereas TV, you can kind of put things together. and of course do a lot of live events, you know. Like I think it helped this fall for TV for there to be football on almost every day of the week at some point. That helps with the ratings and such. Well, listen, we all talked. I'm going to go back to the thing I was going to say before. We all we all talked. So now we're going to do lists. We got the first list, and the list is by Solo. So Solo gets the first list. I promised him the first list. I'm going to do my list last, so I'll do Solo's list first. Okay? That sound like a deal? I'm going to start off, and if anybody wants to chime in on a particular show, please feel free. We're all being good about it. Number 10, a show which I liked the performances, but I didn't love the show, but Solo did. Dirty John, the Betty Broderick story. Dirty John. No comments? Anyone? Bueller? No. Moving on. Number 9. I know a lot of people like this, and we're going to talk about this one later. Perry Mason. That was on a lot of lists. A great show. Number 8. I know this was on, I think it was either on Gina or Jenny's list, The Alienist season 2. That was on your list, Gina? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Sorry. It was on mute.
That was
What?
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask what network that comes on.
That was on TNT.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. And Dakota Fanning is incredible in it. Like such an impressive child actor to adult actor. She's to me the reason to watch it.
That is,
I agree with that 100%.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was, they really let her shine this season. And did you read the book, Gina or Mike? Did anybody read that book?
I haven't, because I understand it's a whole series, but I'm interested in reading them. So, you know, along my long list of things to watch after seeing everyone's list is a long list of books to read as well.
Yeah. But I was just wondering because they really changed that show to make her the star of it. And I was wondering if that's what happened in the book. And they made the right decision because she is like, yes, a little bit of Axel's heart went to her while watching that show. And I had to tell my wife, honey, don't get upset at me while we watch this show. But I think that I have a big crush on Dakota Fanning. That's the one it was. Dakota, right? Is it Dakota? There's so many of those Fannings. Elle Fanning is the one who was in like Neon Demon, and she's done some crazier work, I think. All right, number 7, moving on. I think this was on someone else's list as well. The Plot Against America, an HBO show. I think that was about if Howard Hughes had become president. Oh, DJ Tim Hines watched that show. What do you have to say about it, DJ?
It was definitely an interesting take on what could have been in society, but it still showed the same exact society racial divides. This was more with the Jewish community.
Yeah.
But it was, even though outcomes were different in the war, and it's kind of flipped it around so that the Americans aligned with the Nazi regime and we embraced fascism.
Yeah.
And it was slowly bringing that idea to America. And that's what the show was about. And it was a totally unique twist. And they got the time period right. And they got the settings right. And even though the show was different, it reminded me a little bit of that show. Oh, shoot. It was like when Netflix first came out, it was a show about similar if Nazis had won the war type of thing. But it was
talking about Amazon's
Man in the High Castle?
Yes. Okay, that one, right. Man in the High Castle. So it was similar to that, except just a little more like just all politics, like right in your face. You were at all these different events, and it was a really, really good show. Very unique, I'd say. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what? I think in a sense, after watching Mank, those two might make a good pair too, because Mank actually had a lot to do with that and a lot to do with the fascist and Nazi sympathies that existed among the billionaire elite. I guess they were millionaires back then. No, I think actually they were billionaires back then in America. So that's cool. Plot Against America. And that's David Simon too. So I'm going to check that out at some point. Number 6, I know this isn't on anyone else's list, and I know that Solo and I both love this. Netflix's Criminal, which did UK, Germany, and I think it was UK, Germany, and France. And it's about a half hour to 40-minute show, procedural. Each one is different with the same cast, and it's just an interrogation. It's they walk it into the interrogation room, and that's where the whole thing takes place. If you haven't seen this series on Netflix, it's only 3 or 4 episodes per season. They've done 2 seasons. You got to check it out. It's amazing. It's fantastic. I mean, the acting is great. They involve a little bit of story on what's happening with the people, but mostly it's about the case. And they bring in a bunch of stars too. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a couple great stars that come in, and it's a wonderful show. I mean, honestly, I think if Netflix dedicated this to like 10 episodes, they'd have a huge hit and everybody would know this show. But I think a lot of people kind of ignored it since it was spread across so many different countries, and they thought they'd have to watch them all. Did anyone here watch? Raise your hand if you watched Criminal. Nobody. Oh, okay. Gina watched some of it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, some of it. I found the format of just the interrogation too slow for me. So
Okay.
I think I watched a couple episodes, but then no more.
I don't know why. I love interrogations. I love interrogating people. I'm going to interrogate next.
That's because you are an interrogator, Axel.
I am the interrogator. All right. Number 5 did not make my list early in the year. I love it. I'm glad Solo brought it up. I know it's something that we shared a love for. Homeland, the final season of Homeland. Anyone have anything to say about the final season of Homeland? TJ, Tim Hines, what do you have to say?
I was so glad Crazy Carrie was finished. You know what? It was one of those guilty pleasures that I just had to finish. Like, I couldn't let it sit without watching it.
Yep.
It was so ridiculous. I mean, after season 2, it just kept getting more ridiculous, but it was more like engaging. Like, I had to see what happened with this unbelievably psychotic person who would have never been allowed anywhere near a government agency like that. And they just kept rolling with it and rolling with it and rolling with it. But it was a guilty pleasure. It was fun. And I like that Heath put it on there. Cause I think he kind of went a little bit similar to how I did. And I took some of the obvious ones off the list that we would have all probably had together, and put some of the stuff aside from the mainstream stuff that I enjoyed. So like Homeland, it was enjoyable. I don't know if it wasn't list worthy, but for Heath, I think the commitment, and seeing the finish for him was the real part that, settles his heart.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I was a huge fan of Homeland, and it brings you back to that 24 action adventure spy type thing. I honestly think after 2 seasons that the what's the Amazon show with Krasinski on it?
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
I think Jack Ryan is like a more successful version of, I think, what Homeland wanted to be, because after the first season, it took a precipitous dive to the insane. And yeah, like after you catch Carrie not on her medication for the 100th time, like taking state secrets to the president, you might be like, yeah, maybe she's not the best person for the job. But and oh yeah, by the way, she tried to kill her own kid. But let's move on. Okay. Try to drown her baby. Number 4, Briar Patch. This was on USA Network. Written and executive produced by the dude Andy from the Ringer Podcast Network. So if you're a fan of The Watch, you know that Andy did that. It's kind of like a neo-noir. Got some solid reviews. I'm not quite sure if it's been renewed. I think it hasn't, because USA has gone a different way with their programming now. And
I think it got canceled.
Yeah, they're moving away from the dramas. So I don't know.
I did see a couple episodes of that. I really liked it. It kind of had like an Elmore Leonard crime novel, like crime novels, like Out of Sight and Get Shorty. It had that kind of a feel to it, kind of a gritty, stylized crime drama. I really liked it, but that was also right in the middle of when I canceled my DirecTV and I lost access to USA Network, so I never finished it. But I did like what I saw.
Yeah, it should. I think that this is one I'll catch. Because even though it's only one season, from what I understand, it's self-contained, so you can watch it even though. So that's anyone. Did anyone else watch Briar Patch here? Anyone? No. Okay. Me.
Nope.
Yeah. Me neither. Number 3 on Solo's list, and this is one we're going to talk a lot about later, so we don't have to get into it now, which was Better Call Saul. And I think that was on a lot of lists, baby. As actually his top 3. Number 2, he had Fargo season 4, which just ended. I've not finished it. Anybody make it through the whole? Anybody watch the whole season of Fargo season 4? Timbo, Mike, let's hear what you have to say about Fargo season 4 a little bit.
Yeah, Fargo made my list sort of as an honorable mention, and it's because Fargo is so good, and you can have a season that is not that great by Fargo standards, but is still better than a lot of the other stuff you see. And they took some risks with this season. Like they cast Chris Rock in a major role, a guy known for comedy, obviously. They cast Jason Schwartzman, another guy known for comedy, in a major role, and they brought in an Italian actor for a major role who I've never seen in anything here. He did a great job. I think putting Chris Rock and Jason Schwartzman in that position was an interesting challenge for them, because it was an interesting challenge for me too as a viewer, because I'm so accustomed to seeing, this guy I see do stand up all the time. He's got to convince me that he's a gangster. Like that's no short order. So I was impressed. That I will say that Chris Rock sold me in his performance, which I thought was good. It's not like it's some Emmy-worthy, knocked it out of the ballpark kind of deal, but I was able to separate him from comedian Chris Rock. And Jason Schwartzman, I think they did interesting stuff with him too. I felt like he was supposed to be. I think going in, we thought he was supposed to be like a real serious gangster too, and you don't really buy it. But I think they cast him well, because I think he was kind of meant to come off as like a bumbling kind of gangster, like a dumb fuck who doesn't really know what he's doing. We could curse, right? We're all friends. No one's gonna listen to it. No one's gonna listen to this but the 5-6 of us, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and curse throughout this. But I thought what they did with Jason Schwartzman, I feel like now was intentional. Whereas I felt like going into it in the first couple episodes, I'm like, oh, I don't know if Jason Schwartzman's really working with this. But once I caught on that, I felt like that's what they were trying to tell me, is that this is a guy who is not fit for this role. I thought he did a really good job. So I thought the season was solid. It's your standard Fargo. If you've seen any season of Fargo, you've seen all of them, kind of. Just, even though it's an anthology series and it's different characters and different storylines, they're all kind of structured the same. So I thought it was really solid. It didn't make my top 10. I do think it was probably the least or second least of the 4 Fargo seasons. But like I said, even mediocre Fargo, and I wouldn't call it mediocre, but even mediocre Fargo is better than a lot of stuff on television. So I enjoyed it.
Cool. Timbo.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, I think that the acting was excellent. I think the writing was subpar, and I think the story wasn't as gripping as other seasons. But seeing Chris Rock take on a new role, serious role, that to me was great. And unfortunately, like, Jason Schwartzman didn't elevate his game. He was the same Desjardins Limited type character, like, Wes Anderson type Jason Schwartzman. And that's the only thing that fell off for me. I didn't buy it. But this Italian actor that Mike's talking about, phenomenal. Probably the best actor in the whole show.
Yeah, I'm referring to the guy that played not Gaetano.
Gaetano, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I watched 2 episodes of it, and then my wife and I kind of fell out. You all know, I think we all watch TV with our respective partners, and some nights you're like, it's a little bit too heavy. Let's watch something silly, or you know what I mean? You're like, and I think for Fargo, the tone, you're right. Fargo is Fargo. You know what I mean? It's like the same tone as all the others, but what I felt was missing for me, and you guys have picked up on it, is it just wasn't as compelling a story for me to be immediate. Like, I like the conceit, which is like the two heads of the families exchange their youngest sons, but it's more than that, you know? And it just didn't grab me. I love Schwartzman. Oh, he's the best. And I'm not quite sure, but I think this might be the last season of Fargo. Because I think they really want Noah Hawley to focus on the new Alien series that he's going to be doing for FX. And I think that's a little, you know, after the last 4 seasons of Fargo have mediocre ratings, not a lot of Emmy nominations, a few here and there. So I would suppose that this may be the last season of Fargo, but you know, he's like their new Kurt Sutter. He has a free pass. So if in 10 years he decides he wants to do Fargo, they'll be like, sure, do it, dude. You know, we'll put it on FX, we'll put it on Hulu on FX now and all that kind of stuff. So that was Solo's number 2. And at number
real quick, Axel.
Axel.
I did hear I think I heard it actually on Bald Moves podcast, actually, that Hawley actually already has an idea for season 5. Now, whether that happens, like you said, remains to be seen. But him having an idea for it already is out of the norm, because I think I heard after season 3, he didn't have anything for season 4. So it was like, and that's why there was such a long gap in between seasons. I think it was like 2 years or some shit. So, but I heard he already has an idea for season 5. So maybe we'll get it in a few years. But I think you're right about the focus on Alien.
It wouldn't surprise me either way. That dude is ridiculous. I mean, you know that he writes novels in between the seasons. He's crazy writer. Like he just works 24 hours a day. So
I will watch anything he does.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
he's an amazing creator. All right, so we're gonna go to Solo's number 1. Do-do-do-do-do. That was the horns for Solo.
That's the horns.
That does not sound like a horn, Axel.
I was thinking of the babies, how they make their voices sound like horn, like There we go.
Is that on your list, Axel?
Stay alive. I can do that. Stay alive.
Please don't.
Just because you should, just because you could doesn't mean you should.
Amen.
Little dancing. All right. Oh God, I felt dizzy after doing that. Number 1 is a show I have not seen. So someone else could perhaps bring me up to speed on it. Super popular.
It's also on a lot of our lists. We could talk about it a little later too.
So I'm gonna let whoever wants to talk about it. It's Ozark season 3. Who wants to talk about it?
Okay, I guess I will.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I was like, I'm gonna let
I'll chirp in too.
Yeah, you guys go ahead.
Well, I actually, the first 2 seasons of Ozark, I was kind of okay on. I never wasn't a huge fan, and I actually forgot all about season 3 had even aired until Heath and Axel and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, and Heath had said how great season 3 was, and I'm like, man, I don't think I ever watched it. So I finally watched this a week ago maybe, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought the acting was, everything was stepped up. The acting, the story was better. Direction. I thought I was blown away. I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed this season. I thought they went a little different way than I was expecting. They had some, I don't want to spoil anything because I don't know if everybody's watched it yet or not, but man, I really enjoyed it. I guess I don't have a lot to say about it, just that I really liked it.
I did too. I thought that Laura Linney in the role of Wendy did an amazing job this year, like better than she's done in either of the 2 previous seasons, and she did well in those. I thought it was a little lacking on Ruth.
Yeah.
We all could do with a little more Ruth. I missed Ruth this season. I mean, she was there, but she wasn't like the major player like she has been in the first 2 seasons. But I really, really enjoyed it. And they did take a different path than I expected them to too, Andy. But I enjoyed it immensely. I thought it was the best season yet.
I agree. The guy that played her brother I thought was also excellent. Sorry.
Okay, no, Andy, that was going to be my comment. That like we got to talk about how good that was. Like his performance and the way the dynamic between him and Laura Linney's character, like everything they did within that aspect of the show was amazing. Like I thought that was some great stuff.
Yep.
Oh, am I supposed to talk again?
I'm like awkward silence. I can keep talking.
And if there's more,
Well, you got on
does
Ozark?
anyone else want to say stuff about Ozark?
I mean, I only hopped on the Ozark train, I think, right as season 3 was coming out. So I did the whole binge watch of the 3 seasons.
Me too,
And
Gina.
yeah, just blown away. And then shout out to Jason Bateman, who I think is fantastic in this show because it's nothing like I'd ever seen him in before. And then on top of that, him doing The Outsiders on HBO. I just think he's like, who knew how brilliant this guy really is? But you kind of wouldn't expect it from him. But I think
I would have a different perspective. Sorry. If I were binging it all at once, then I started watching it when it came out, and I totally love Jason Bateman in that role too. But like, I can imagine, like when you said that, I was like, oh man, if I had watched that all at once, it would have been a totally different experience than what I had is watching it the way that I did. But I still love him in that character. You're right. He's amazing there.
I watched it that same way as Gina and Mike. You know, it was basically kind of like the start of the pandemic, I think, when we all started, you know, just getting locked down. And I thought that, you know, it kind of got, I guess as binging it felt a little like repetitive, like, oh my God, like it's getting into another conundrum. Like it just kept like getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it. But the shift in characters, I think, you know, like you said, the brother, the whole different, you know, casino aspect and changing up things, that was refreshing, because if it would have just been the same kind of con schemes going on, it would have been a little flat. But yeah, not that part of it was, I think, you know, excellent. It was a good season. It didn't make my list. I didn't think it was the, you know, the best TV, but I thought it was very like something unique. You know, I wouldn't expect that from any of those actors. And just seeing that part of America, I think, is a eye opener for a lot of people.
I think the other thing I liked about it is the first 2 seasons really kind of struck me as like they were trying to do Breaking Bad on Netflix. Yeah. And this season really kind of pivoted away from that a little bit more. It's still a crime drama, but it's following a lot different beats now than it was originally, which I thought that improved a lot.
Ooh, Ando, you just made me want to watch it, because I dropped out in the middle of season 2 because I was like, I already saw Breaking Bad and it was better than this. And
no, I was on the same page.
Yeah, so okay, maybe I'll.
I think that's why I wasn't in a hurry to watch season 3. I think the only reason I would have was because when I talked to Heath a couple weeks ago and he raved about it, because one of the actors that plays the brother that we're talking about was one of the guys in Mank. And he was like, he was so great in season 3 of Ozark. And I'm like, I don't remember that. And I went and looked and I hadn't watched it because I didn't care to watch the 3rd season, because the first 2 seasons were like, I've seen this before. There's no hurry to get to season 3. So
that actor's name is Tom Pelphrey that plays Wendy's brother.
Oh, okay. I have, yes. He was in, I've seen him in some other stuff too. I think he's one of those dudes that has long been supporting and is now kind of coming into his own. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him starring in a series sooner rather than later. That's usually the way it goes. All right.
Yeah, I was in the real quick. I was in the same boat as Andy as well. Like, I binged it, but I binged it after season 3 was already, put out and people had watched it. So I binged it a little bit later than you guys, and I was on the same thing. Like, I'm going through it, and I'm like, yeah, this is just Breaking Bad. Like, I don't understand the appeal. But I heard people raving about the current season, so I stuck with it because I'm like, man, I'm hearing people rave about this show, this 3rd season. Yeah, so I stayed with it. I did enjoy the show. Like, I'd say the 2nd season was good. I enjoyed the 2nd season, but it was one of those things where it's like, if I didn't already hear people raving about the 3rd season, I might not have prioritized it. I might have got to it whenever, but yeah, that pushed me through it, hearing everything about season 3. And yeah, like Andy said, it established itself as something other than Breaking Bad in season 3 big time.
Right. So watching it when it came out, the first season was really good and it was fun. And then the second season kind of let you down a little bit. But this third season, it was fucking amazing. Just saying.
Awesome.
Did you, when you watched season one live, well, not live, but you know what I mean? When you watched season one when it first came out, did you get that Breaking Bad impression?
Maybe a little bit, but I thought it was fun and I enjoyed watching it. It wasn't, I didn't feel like it was too much of a copy. I enjoyed watching it when it came out, but it mostly because it was fun and it was like, man, these dudes are fucking stupid. Anyway, just saying.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's move it on. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to go through Heath's honorable mentions. And let's see, starting out with something that I think did show up on another list. Andy probably knows better than I. His Dark Materials. No? Okay. Only, and let's give
just
it a
Heath.
shout. Just Heath.
I've watched
okay.
most of it, but I'm not caught up. And I didn't put it on my list because I don't love it, but I do like it a lot.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to give a shout out to Matt and
I've been
Catfish.
listening. Yes.
Yeah.
Holly and Matt do the, yeah.
Holly and Matt. Okay. Last season it was Catfish, right?
He was on at least a couple of them. Yeah. Because, but Holly and Matt.
Right. So shout out to those, our podcast brethren, the Double P Podcast Network. Go check them out. Love those guys.
The Dust is the name of the podcast.
Dust. All right. Next up is one that I know is not on anyone else's list because Heath is the biggest fan in the world. Law and Order SVU. If there's a sexual victim unit out there, Heath Solo's watching it. That's his thing. He loves watching it. All right, he's a watcher. Moving on, Prodigal Son on Fox.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's a kind of like serial killer. The son of a serial killer becomes an investigator. It's like a procedural with some serialization on Fox. Decent show. TNT, a show that they were nice enough to give me early access to the show because I said, I might want to podcast it. Then I watched the first couple episodes and I said, thanks for nothing. It's Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer on TNT, which was based.
Oh my God, weren't you going to do a podcast about that?
Yeah, I was thinking of it because I love that film and I thought the idea was so cool, but it just didn't. I don't know. I just don't know that it had a series in it, but they're trying to change it around for season 2.
It should have been on a dishonorable mention list.
Oh, whoa, DJ.
Woo.
Voice.
I was so hyped up for that show, and it was a definitely TNT show. Let's put it that way.
Right. Next up is a show that was on AMC, a anthology series called Soulmates, which is like different kind of futuristic love stories every week. Have not checked it out, but we know Solo's a lover. So if it's about love, Solo's watching it, except for The Bachelor. And finally, Big Sky, a show which I kind of enjoyed the initial episode, but just didn't make it for me. A recent addition. Has anyone checked out Big Sky?
I've seen commercials and thought about checking it out. So give me your take, Axel.
It is a David E. Kelly did it for ABC. So it has the elements like kind of soap opera-ish with mystery and murder. But because
when I see the commercials, it makes me think of Yellowstone. So give it to me in that context.
Oh, it's like a main murder mystery that they're trying to solve that involves like, people who kind of live in this secluded mountain area. It's got quirky elements, like it's trying to be a little Twin Peaks. I guess it's hard to describe because I don't think it really knows what
it's trying to be.
Yeah. And I think it had like the first episode ends with like a big surprise, a twist. And for me, the twist eliminated my reason for wanting to watch the show.
Oh,
Um,
that's funny.
so it may have worked for other people, but I just didn't think it worked. So unfortunately, that's it. And that's it for Solo's list. Thank you, Solo. We miss you. And now I am going to hand over the reins to Gina. Gina, it's time for your top 10. You can take over, ask any, as you go through the list. It's your show.
Okay. All right. So as I mentioned before, I kind of have two categories of TV that have really appealed to me this year, and they fall into the categories of dark and twisty and kind of feel good, inspiring. And so that's basically what this list is made up of. I have, do we want to go from our last one to our number one?
I like that style.
Whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. Yeah.
So my number 10, and this is a little bit of a cheat, but I looked to see when it came out, and it came out December 26, 2019. So I know there's no way it would have been talked about last year as anyone's top 10, but the second season of You, which I think the first season was really creepy. I think they did a great job with season 2. And the kind of the trail off for how they're setting up a potential season 3 was also just very like, okay, we're going to go here now. So yeah, it's a super twisted show, but there's something really compelling about it to me.
Yeah. I
don't
love
know.
the show. I'll chime in. I absolutely love this show. I think Penn Badgley. I love that dude on Gossip Girl. I thought he was I was surprised during Gossip Girl that I know he went off and he played I think he played like Jeff Buckley in a movie or something like that. And he had to have try to have a little independent film career. But now that he's back on I think he's just a great TV actor. And that role is so weird, the way in which I'm really cheering for him in the show, but he's a total scumbag and like a weirdo. I just love it. And I think I'm so happy that Netflix, I think the first season was my number 2 or something like that. I loved it. I thought the second season was a little more trying to figure it out. So I feel like the third season might even be better, but it wasn't bad at all. It was really great. And I love the actors and actresses that they added to the show. If this is creepy, but it's also really fun and easy to watch.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But
when I first watched it, well, I'm sorry, when people first told me about it, I was like, that doesn't even sound like something I would remotely want to watch. But when I think I watched it because you said something about it last year, Axel, I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And I really enjoyed it. And you're right, Gina, it was really good this season too.
Yeah. So my number 9 is The Crown season 4. I don't know how many people are Crown fans. I think I saw it on Jenni's list. Yes. There's something, and actually this falls into my dark and twisty category because these are unhappy people that do horrible things to each other. And if even half of what we see in this show is what actually happened in real life, it's just kind of abysmal. And but I think the shining star of this season is Gillian Anderson as Margaret Thatcher. It's like both ridiculous and amazing at the same time.
Oh my God, yes.
She'll meet with the Queen and she does these super low curtsies and she's like, "Your Majesty." And it's just, you kind of laugh, but I don't know, she's just amazing in it. And was kind of one of the highlights, but they've always had, I think, a great cast. I mean, Helena Bonham Carter is also just fantastic in it. And the girl that played Princess Diana this season, and her name escapes me. I thought she was great. They're actually going to age her for next season. It's going to be played by a completely different actress, which is kind of breaking the mold of them at least sticking with the same actors and actresses for 2 seasons.
Right, but they didn't bring her in till this season, and it was on the end of the 2-season arc, so she kind of got screwed.
Yeah, but it was just it was a great season this year.
You talking about Gillian Anderson? So in the first episode she was in, which I can't remember, it was probably the first episode of the season. I mean, I grew up and I remember Margaret Thatcher being the prime minister, and I was like, oh my God, is this how this woman really talked? And so I like had to Google it and find a YouTube thing with her talking. And I was like, okay, I'll accept it. It was very distressing for me, the whole first episode she was in, because I was like, I don't know if I can handle this for a whole fucking season. But I got used to it. And that is actually how she talks, which is disturbing to me. But yes, she did an
Yeah.
amazing job. And I couldn't believe that was, you know, the X-Files lady. So she did amazing. And last season, I was so upset that they brought in Helena Bonham Carter to play Princess Margaret, because I just was like, I really liked the actress that had been the first two seasons, and she was so very different. But she did an amazing job last season and again this season. And I felt for her when, you know, her royal duties, sorry, spoilers, but you know, this is actual history. You know, when her royal duties were taken away and stuff, you know, it was a really good season. I enjoyed it a lot too.
Yeah.
And now I won't
Yeah,
have to talk about it when it comes up on my list.
um,
By the time I get to my list, I'm probably not gonna have anything to say.
well, my number 8 was the Netflix series Hollywood, which is a Ryan Murphy brainchild. And this was like one of my feel-good aspirational, because it basically took old 1940s Hollywood and spun it around as a what if we were able to achieve more equality with putting people of color and letting closeted actors come out in public in the 1940s, and actually put women in power of a movie network back in the 1940s. So I love the whole spin on the what if scenario. I mean, everything Ryan Murphy does is, I think, smart and interesting and makes you think. And then he just always has, you know, kind of an incredible lineup of like fresh young actors you've never really seen, and then brings in someone like Patti LuPone. So yeah, I just think it's a great kind of fun show to watch if you haven't yet. I think I was the only person that had it on my list, so but I recommend it. Season 7 is Sex Education, second episode or second season of it. I don't know if anyone is familiar with this show, but it takes place at kind of a
Is that on Netflix?
It is on Netflix. It takes place at a British high school, and Gillian Anderson again plays the main character's sex therapist mom. And that's kind of how the whole thing spins out. The kid in the first season starts giving sex advice to all his classmates in spite of his own issues with sex, which is he's like a virgin that can't masturbate. And, you know, it's just kind of crazy, but it's super funny. But it's also very heartfelt as well. You really get involved in the lives of the characters. There's a lot of, you know, kind of both from an adult and a teenage perspective. But I just kind of think back and I'm like, God, where was the show when I was a teenager? Because I sure could have used it. And I think because it comes from Britain, I couldn't see anything like this being made in the US. I think it has to come from Britain, where they're just, you know, a lot less uptight about things. But again, it's another great Gillian Anderson. The kids
come from anywhere in Europe and be okay.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And they do a spoiler alert, they do a stage production of Romeo and Juliet that somehow has a lot of strange alien beings in it, and is also super highly sexualized, like Shakespeare, like you've never seen it before. But it was awesome. It was kind of awesome. So anyway,
I always thought Shakespeare's stories lacked a lot of hardcore sex. So that sounds intriguing.
Well, and the girl in it, the high school student in it that directs it, she is her own kind of strange, wonderful character. It's just like, if you really just want to laugh your butt off, like this is one to put in. Of course, there's not small children around, but like most of it, we just like laugh through all of it. And it's nice if you want to get your laugh on. My number 6 was Ozark season 3, which we have discussed. Number 5. Okay, so Alone. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this is a reality series on the Discovery Channel where they send 10 people out into an unknown place. They place them at least like 5 miles apart from each other, and they get 10 pieces of equipment to use to survive. And normally it's whoever survives the longest gets $1 million or $500,000. This year it was whoever can last in the Arctic for 100 days gets $1 million. This is the most hardcore, but I'm personally
Like Naked and Afraid, but not naked.
not naked. I mean, because
Yes,
in the
and
Arctic,
people with real skills.
Yeah.
real, yeah.
If they're not naked, I'm out. I'm just kidding.
Well,
It does sound much better than Naked and Afraid has
Yeah.
ever appeared to.
I mean, it's so hardcore, and definitely I think season 5, it went next level because they had someone on that had done something that no one had ever done before. And then this season it was kind of similar, but
Can I ask you real quick?
yeah.
I just saw on Netflix, it was season 6. I had watched it and I couldn't find the other seasons. Was it on TV at one point?
So Discovery, I think you can find the other seasons on Amazon.
Okay.
And I think most of them are
Because I
non-paid.
to me, it looked like a totally new show because it just popped on Netflix. I thought it was new. And then when I went to play it said season 6. And
Yeah.
that was surprisingly really good because I do like Naked and Afraid.
There's more seasons of this too. There's like Alone Extreme or something. There's a spin-off of this or so. I think because I got caught up on this too over the quarantine, Gina, and
Yeah.
this is great. This is like real Survivor without the politics. They just got to survive.
Yeah, the drama is basically nature against these individuals, and this is like one of my feel-good, uplifting ones because man, there was an episode where this one woman hadn't eaten for days, and she catches a fish through ice fishing, and it's one of the most like joy-filled moments. I was laughing, I was crying, she was laughing, she was crying, and then if it wasn't that good, she catches a second one like right away, and you're just like, I don't know. It's just like so like human. There's so much human experience and emotion in it. And these people out there just like examining their lives and the amazing shelters they build. I mean, it's just like you're in awe of these people. It's just kind of crazy what they do. But that's my number 5. And it was a great discovery during the pandemic for me. But yeah, good stuff. So my number 4 is a series that I also didn't see on anyone else's list. And I don't know if anyone else has watched this, but it's a Netflix series called Lock and Key.
I've seen a couple episodes.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's dark for kind of what I'd call like more of a teen show. The main characters are kids, but it's more about a family. But I just thought it was super creative, kind of the concept of it. It's slightly sci-fi, slightly kind of otherworldly, but
It's based on a comic, right?
I think it is based on a book or
Based on a book by
Yeah.
a comic by Stephen King's son, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Joe
really?
Hill.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Joe
That
Hill.
makes a lot of sense. Well,
I watched the first
yeah.
episode. Was it like my husband watched the rest of it without me? And so I was like, well, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it by myself. Is it worth it, Gina?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's been lighted for a second season as well. Yeah, but it's really super interesting. So
Roberto had reached out to me and we were talking about maybe podcasting that show.
oh, really?
I think like the quarantine happened and all this other, and I never got a chance to watch it, but that's one that I really wanted to catch up on.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and I thought it was super creative. So yeah, it made my list this year. Number 3, Schitt's Creek,
This is a big one.
season 6. So I was also
Gina,
like,
before you start, please don't spoil it for me. I'm in the process of
Okay.
watching Schitt's Creek, and I'm only on season 2, I think. So I'm way behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes,
So good.
I started this
Mhm.
during the pandemic as well, because I'd heard great things about it. It's just such a feel-good show. Like the characters, as some people will probably think, like in the first few, you're like, oh my God, they're all so obnoxious, but they grow on you. They're just like so endearing. And I'm blown away by the Levy family because, of course, we've got Eugene in there, who plays the dad, Daniel, who is Eugene Levy's son, who plays David, and Twyla, who is the waitress, is Eugene Levy's daughter and
Sarah.
sister to
Yep.
David. So just like super talented family.
One of the uncles is a producer too. One of Eugene's brothers is also a producer
Really,
as well.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, it's just like a great series and kind of sad, that it ended. But I think they're already talking like maybe they'll do like a little Netflix movie or something, or maybe a spin out. So I think that would be cool to have that back. But yeah,
Like you said, they were kind of annoying to start with, but like most of them I could tolerate. The one I had struggled the most to tolerate during the first season was Chris Elliott as Roland Shit. And that's because I can't stand Chris Elliott in any role that he plays in. He drives me batshit nuts. I cannot stand him. And so that was the part that was the hump I had to get over. And because he wasn't he was in most episodes, if not all episodes, but he was a smaller part of it than the Rose family. So it made it okay. And by the end, I didn't even hate him anymore.
yeah. Yeah, you kind of they really grow on you. They really grow on you.
Yes.
Yeah,
You,
this
you
one
know
is
who I
Like mold.
Like bold. But on blue cheese, so it just kind of makes it better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
who I hate love on that show is Bob. I think that's his name, right?
No,
Bob.
he's annoying
Bob.
too. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
I love Bob because I hate him. He's the kind of guy that I would absolutely loathe in real life. He's so obnoxious,
Right.
but he's obnoxious in a way that is so funny to me. I'm like, how this guy's a piece of shit.
He is.
The Schitt's Creek is something that's very, very high on my list too. I like you, Gina. I started watching it. I think I started watching this right after Westworld was done because I wanted something that was a little bit lighter, and I'd heard all the good buzz. I'd started a couple of times a year or two ago, and I thought it's okay, but there was nothing else going on, so I just kind of let it play, and it just grows and grows and grows on you. There's a certain point where they introduce a certain character, and if Mike, you're only on season 2, so you have not been introduced to this character yet, I don't believe. And when it happens, the whole show changes, and it becomes something that is one of the best
Know
shows.
exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes, the best. I mean, it's one of the best love stories I've ever seen on TV. It's
simply the best.
Especially for a comedy.
Okay.
Especially for a comedy. It
Okay,
comes out of nowhere.
Yep.
And it's
And
beautiful.
amazing.
you can spoil me.
Just
you can
leave it
spoil
at
me on
that,
this-
Andy.
You can spoil me on this one thing. Who is the love
No,
interest?
we're not going to spoil you. Nope, nope, nope.
The best
No
way I can
spoiling.
describe, kind of, and like what you guys were saying too, it turns a lot of people off. Like my wife had to convince her to keep watching it because I had watched it ahead of her, and I said, she was like, "These people are assholes." I said, "Just trust me,
They
stick
are.
with it." And what I tell other people now is, I said, it's basically like a reverse Arrested Development. Instead of a rich family of assholes becoming worse, it's about a rich family of assholes learning to become better and nicer people. And there was something when it was winning all the Emmys, which I loved because I thought every single one was deserving. And Dan Levy, I think the guy is a genius.
Oh.
I'm shocked with how good he is, but I think his quote
him.
when
I love David.
Yeah.
He's my favorite character right now.
Yeah. He just gets
Oh.
better
He'll
and better
stay your
too.
favorite because David
Yeah.
Rose is amazing.
Well, when he won
The
best
best.
when they won best series, I wrote this quote down because I also thought it was the perfect way to describe it. He said, "He's like, thanks for giving us this award. This show is about the transformational effects of love and acceptance, and that is something we need now more than we've ever needed before." And I thought that was perfect as a perfect way to describe this show. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a moment, and I don't even know if you guys will remember it because you guys are on season 6. I'm sitting here on season 2, but there was a moment. I don't know if it
Step
was in
it
season
up,
1 or
Mike.
2.
Step it up.
I'm trying. My wife keeps falling asleep, and we have to watch it together. She loves it. But there was a moment in season 1 or 2 between David and what's the name of the woman who works the front desk? I'm
Stevie.
forgetting her name. Yeah,
Stevie.
Stevie. Yeah.
Yep.
Where they were talking about sexuality in the terms of, but they were referring to it as wine.
Yep.
And
Yes.
Yes, that is
I
so
thought-
good. I love
he
that.
said,
Uh-huh.
he said, let's just say I love wine. He said something like, I love wine, but I don't care about the label or something like.
Sometimes
thought
I
that
like
was
red wine. Yeah. Sometimes I like
Sometimes
red
I
wine.
like a
Sometimes I
Merlot.
like white
Sometimes
wine.
I like a
Yeah.
Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
I
he
like a
said, like,
Merlot that used to be a red wine or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
He
I thought
it
it
was
was a rosé.
amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a brilliant way to describe that type of sexuality. I was like that. I thought whoever wrote that, I thought that was a brilliant exchange in that
It was-
in that episode.
You are correct. That was amazing.
And it might
Mhm.
have been him because I believe they
Right.
write the show too. I mean,
Yeah, he
it's
wrote
just-
a lot of it.
It's so
His
good. And-
outfits were so ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
but I, as a person that wears a lot of black, totally get behind the black and white. Let's just
No, what always made me laugh was that it always looked like he had like a little apron
The
skirt.
skirt.
over-
Yeah, you
I'm
can
like,
Uh-huh.
what is up with that?
Totally.
It
Yeah.
was so weird, but it was so David.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Leather vests in the summertime because they looked good.
Yes.
And those sweaters too.
Yes,
But
the
here's
sweaters.
one spoiler I'm going to give you, Michael, that's not really a spoiler. You might need to have the Kleenex nearby for season 6. There were multiple times that I was just, and I think part of it was knowing it was the last season. I was just like,
Yeah.
Wow.
There were a
Very
few times,
heartwarming.
especially in the last episode. So just so you know.
There's
Well-
also
Wow.
but I want to say one more thing too. They just recently added to Netflix a retrospective where they made a documentary filming the last season. It's about an
Oh,
I
hour
saw
long.
that,
It's
yeah.
watch that.
very worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet.
I don't think
I saw it on
don't
there.
think
I
I've
didn't watch it, but yeah.
Yep.
Yes, I'm gonna have
I'll
to
check
check
it
that
out.
out.
So apparently, we could do the Schitt's Creek podcast with you guys.
we probably
Yeah.
could.
We love it.
I think
Yes.
we need to keep this moving because we're going to be doing
Yeah,
a
I
nine
know.
hour
Okay.
nine
Yeah.
hour marathon here.
Sorry,
Right.
We
Okay.
had so much to say, but we won't have to say it when we get to our own list.
That's true.
That's true.
And it's on a few
True.
lists.
Mhm.
So my number 2 was Unorthodox. This is based on a book that was a true story about a girl in a Hasidic Jewish community. It's only about 4 episodes. It's really one of the most kind of beautiful little series I've ever seen. The actress is phenomenal. It just like sucked me into a completely different world that actually exists within our own world. And I just thought it was really beautiful. If you have a few hours, I would check it out.
Yeah, this is
Um,
definitely very high on my list to watch with my wife. I'm really intrigued by this show because when I lived there, I was intrigued by that community. So I think it'd be really cool to watch a TV show about it.
Yeah, yeah, and it actually, which didn't make my list, there was 2 seasons of something called Stichel, which is also Hasidic Jewish community, but yeah, which actually the main actress is in this. She plays a much younger character in that one too, but that just kind of led me down a rabbit hole. My number 1 is Killing Eve season 3. I don't know how many people have watched the first 2 seasons. I thought season 3 was the best season yet. I think the relationship between Sandra Oh's character and Jodie Comer's character was just riveting this season. And it's dark and twisty, but it's also this like growing love story that just kind of comes out of nowhere. And so I just thought it was the best season yet. I was surprised at how good it was, and I was surprised that
Is that network?
it is BBC actually. Yeah, yeah.
I watched the first 2 seasons and I enjoyed it. And I started the 3rd season and I just probably, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 episodes in when she was, I know I saw at least when she was in the plaza with her, Jodie Comer was with her old teacher and the little girl, the baby that they put in the trash can. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I know I made it through that one. I feel like I might have made it one more episode after that. But I was like, I feel like they're just doing things to do things now. And it just didn't appeal to me as much. So I stopped watching it. And now I feel like I should try and finish it because I try to be a finisher. But Axel and I actually talked about it when I was like debating. And he said he quit during season 2 because he didn't find it as appealing as season 1, I think is what he had said. But
Yeah. I don't know. I
was
love those 2
sad because I
actresses.
liked it.
Yeah.
I do too. I think they're both amazing actresses. I loved Christina in Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
She was Meredith's person.
I know. Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah.
no, I just thought this was I thought it was the best season they've had so far. So yeah, it was.
I may have to go back and try and finish the season.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Well, I think I got 4 or 5 episodes into season 2, and it felt like one of those shows where because I know they switch showrunners for every season.
Yeah.
So, and then people had said that season 3 got back to being a little bit tighter of a story.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. So I maybe I'd be interested in jump, but like I said, there's so much stuff out there, but those actresses are amazing.
Yeah, and you know who joined the cast this season? Gosh, let me Google her name, but it was the actress that played
Yara
Greyjoy joined the
Great.
cast.
Yeah.
As so
she played
completely
what's
different
her
role for
face's
her.
daughter. Yeah. Phoebe.
Carolyn's daughter.
The actress's name is Phoebe something.
Or Gemma Whalen is
Yes.
the actress, and then she played the daughter of Fiona Shaw, which was the older redheaded woman that's the head of the British version of the CIA. And then the actor that plays Constantine on that too, Kim Bodnia, he had a great role this season too.
He is really good
love
too.
That guy. Yeah. But I thought it was great, and it was my number one. It just was. I was so satisfied with the end of it. I think more than kind of any other show this season finale. So that was my number one.
It's awesome. That's awesome. You want to mention some of your honorable mentions?
I mentioned a couple of them. I mean, there's just so much. I feel like if we mention everyone honorable mention, we literally are gonna be here for a while. And I do have to leave in 2 hours to go somewhere. I don't know if we'll still be on by then.
I know. I say I like how you had the 2020 elections.
That was funny. Yes,
that's a TV show. I mean,
Yeah.
especially the last election, right? I mean,
I like the coronavirus clusterfuck.
Yes,
the best.
Those
I like your labels, Gina.
Yeah, well, I do work at PR and marketing.
But it's really true because
come up with clever.
You think about it in like a meta way. TV has all these little shows, like these alternate realities, but there's like a reality that goes through all of the shows and the networks. And that really is like Corona and the elections is kind of underneath almost like everything that was made, because the people, right? Like some of it was on their mind. So it's like, I think that's actually worth stating. And you did say Station 19, the best eye candy on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they do have some very hot female and male actors.
Yes.
It
does not disappoint for whatever.
No, I'm a fan too, Gina, of Station 19 and Grey's. I've watched Grey's since the beginning, and
Yeah.
This season has been rough as always, but I was so glad spoiler alert, to see Derek and
Yes.
to see George.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah, good times.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's
That's
It
awesome.
wasn't a good time, but it was good to see them.
Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, I think there are a couple on here that other people might mention. I do think Cursed is pretty interesting, and I think Jenny, you had it on maybe your honorable mentions too,
Yes.
but it's kind of a different version of the Merlin
Mhm.
Lancelot story.
The King Arthur and
King
all
Arthur,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
That's right.
fun.
I wanted to watch that. That's Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thank you, Gina, for taking us through your list. That was awesome. We're going to keep it moving. I'm going to actually read a list from Facebook. I'm going to throw one in there. And let's read a list from Brett. Okay. Starting off at number 10, Tiger King. We haven't even mentioned Tiger King. All right, let's not talk about it anymore. Number
No, let's
9,
not.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which I stopped watching because it's about somebody's Patton Oswalt's wife who died. It was too much for me.
Well, it wasn't really about that, but she was writing about, anyway.
That was a tough one.
It's dark.
People watch that. How many people here watch that? Just Gina?
I didn't watch it, but I was going to watch it, but I listened to some podcasts that talked about it. So I have the gist, and I know about the murder story that she was writing about too. So
Well, yeah, the murder story, but I think also just if anyone goes to watch it, you know, she did pass away while she was doing the investigation.
Yes.
It honestly sounds like it. I mean, she very sadly had an addiction problem. That sounds like it contributed to her death. And I think that was almost more shocking than to find out than her investigating this serial killer. Which,
the Golden State Killer,
Golden
right?
State Killer.
We watched one episode and I was like halfway through it. I just turned to my wife and I was like, I can't do this. I really, sometimes it's too, I don't know, like dead kids and dead wives. These are my fears. So that kind of hits me, and I just can't, it just was something I couldn't, especially with the pandemic. I was like, I gotta move on, but Brett liked it. So take that, Brett's kid and wife. Number
Damn. Making it personal, Axel.
Oh, I love Brett. Come on. Number 8. Yeah, baby. That's why I'm wearing my Wyoming shirt today. Yellowstone season 3. I got into Yellowstone. We did a whole pod about it.
Yeah, we did. It was good.
Yellowstone. Number 7, The Vow, which was great on HBO, the docu-series. And Seduced, which I'm not quite sure what Seduced is.
They were both, one was on Stars
thing.
and one was on HBO. I think they were both on the NXIVM cult.
I didn't even know that they had another. Okay, that's cool.
I had listened to the podcast. I didn't watch either of the shows. I actually watched one episode, I think, of The Vow, and I was like, I already have all this information. I don't need to watch this.
Interesting.
Well, because I had already listened to the podcast, and it was basically the same type of information. So yeah.
That was a good, you know what? I really like The Vow, but for me, the hardest part was sitting there the whole time being like, they were like, this bad guy, all these people are doing terrible things. And I was like, but you were the people who recruited them all, and they finally kind of got to that and I think that's maybe what they're doing a second season of it. So I think that's maybe what the second season is about.
Are we beating that horse with a stick now?
Thank you, Jenny. I kind of feel like, honestly, I think the way I described this show is it's about a bunch of people who are in a cult who get annoyed at that cult. So they start a new cult to take that other cult down. And that's basically what they did. Right?
Okay, move on.
They just became a cult.
Next.
Next is The Queen's Gambit at number 6, which is on my list. I love this show. I think it's on a lot of lists. A lot of people love it. Number 5, again, on my list, on a lot of people's list. We'll talk more about it when one of us brings it up. Raised by Wolves, an amazing show, baby. Number 4, not on my list, but actually doing the podcast with Ken is definitely high on my list, which was Westworld season 3. Very controversial. Lifting my head above the mic so you can see the whole face on the controversial. Very controversial. Number 3, didn't finish this. McMillions on HBO. Anybody finish McMillions? I see no hands. Oh, Timbo did. Timbo, what do you think?
I thought it was interesting story. It was just drawn out too long.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I felt like about 45 minutes into the first episode, it was like, well, wait, didn't they just tell us what happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was
Just kept on
definitely
going.
a story that I had no idea even existed, which was a cool thing about it. But like I said, it was too long, and which is the same reason I stopped the vow. It was just like after that first episode, I was like, I thought it was going to be like a 1 and 2 episode thing. I look on the the thing, it was 10 episodes. I'm like, no way.
Enough already.
And
right?
then halfway through the show, in real life, the trial comes out and we know what happens. So I'm like, it's in the paper. I just read the whole story in the paper. I'm good.
There you go. It's in the papers. All right. Number 2, definitely on my list. High up there. Love it. Dark season 3, baby. Love Dark. Oh God. We'll talk more about it. And number 1, I did not get into this. And I think the anthology-ness of it dissuaded me, but I know that it has really touched a lot of people, which is Tales from the Loop on Amazon. Did anyone watch it here? Andy, didn't you watch it?
I watched the first, after I saw Brett had it on his list, I watched, it's one I'd just been phoning. I watched the first episode a couple of days ago. I really liked it. I'm going to go back and finish it.
Tim, you watched it?
I told you to watch it as soon as it came on. That is one bugged out sci-fi show that I think you would love.
Okay. I'm going to check that out.
It was right after like Amazing Stories. We were talking to someone about Amazing Stories and some of those tales, and it came out like shortly after that. And I said like it was in similar veins. And then there was, I believe, another show that was like almost like that. And it was like there was so many like similarities that they had. But no, Tales from the Loop was very interesting.
Awesome. Okay. Very cool. Thank you, Brett. All right. I'm going to hit another one from Facebook. Manny Diaz, longtime listener. What's up, Manny? Just recently joined our Facebook group. Number 10, Upload on Amazon, which I'm about halfway through. A lot of fun, great heart. From the same people that brought you Parks and Rec, The Good Place, like that whole, I think it's Greg Daniels, right? The Office.
It's on my list.
Yeah. Yep. Great show. Number 9, How To with John Wilson, which has become my number 1 show that I want to see. It is a weird HBO show that anyone who watches it tells you like, you got to watch this show. It's so strange. It's like, it's from Nathan Fielder, who did Nathan For You. So check that out. Let's see. Number 8, Raised by Wolves. Number 7, Dark. Number 6, Queen's Gambit. Number 5, the first mention of The Boys. The Boys, which we'll talk more about. I know that's on a lot of people's lists. Number 4, The Mandalorian. Mando, very high on many people's lists. Number 3, Vikings. We know Justin Thomas is doing some great YouTube videos on it. I never got into Vikings. Anyone here a Vikings fan?
I've watched Vikings, but I am not current on the most recent episodes. But this last season, which was divided in half, and I guess the new episodes are starting to be streaming on like Prime or something even before they go out on the History Channel, which is where the show originated. I haven't watched any of the new ones that have just been released on Amazon or wherever, but when Ragnar Lothbrok died, it started going downhill for me, that was like 3 seasons ago at least. But this season, on the half that had already aired earlier this year, someone else that has been there since the beginning dies, and I was like so let down. And then this other character that I cannot stand is like still hanging out, and I'm like, I'm not in a hurry to finish watching this, but I do really enjoy watching Vikings. So I will be watching it, and I trust Brett that it's good this season.
All right. All right. Well, this is Manny's list, but we know that you trust Brett. So that's good.
I'm sorry, I trust Manny. I thought it
Oh,
was
I'm just
Brett
messing
still.
with
My
you.
bad.
I'm just messing with you. All right. And number 2, coming into the finals of Manny Diaz's list here. Number 2, Lovecraft Country, which has a big fan in DJ Timm Hines. So we'll let him talk more about that. And at number 1, which I love so much, it's Better Call Saul. Manny, you have great taste. We'll talk more about that one. But for now, I'm going to hand things over to Jenni to bring us her top 10. And then after Jenni, we got Mike. It's Mike and Jenni are our 2 next up.
Don't be
Okay.
fooled by the list that she's got. She's still Jenny from the block.
Look, I did that on cue, Tim. Aren't you proud of me? I really was not trying to put my stuff in order. So these last from 10 to 6 are, well, 10 to 7 are probably a little more random, and then after that it's my top 6. So at 10 I had Picard season 1, and probably the reason I picked it was because I knew it came out in 2020. And so it wasn't like a rewatch or anything, but I watched that and I got CBS All Access just because TNG, The Next Generation, was my favorite of the Star Trek iterations, and I love Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And so I was so enthralled with having this season. It was a little problematic. I mean, I'm not like the whole Trekkie or anything. I didn't necessarily love like the last little bits. I'm not going to spoil anything, but on the planet with the androids, I'll leave it at that. I didn't love all of that as far as the plot went, but overall, and I can't remember her name, the actress, that played the pilot that he had to bring back into Starfleet and everything with the curly hair. I can't remember her name for the life of me.
I can't remember her name either.
But I love her, and I love that they brought her in, and the actress that played the android who didn't know she was an android, slight spoiler.
Yeah.
She did an amazing job. So does anyone else have anything to say about Picard season 1?
Go ahead, Andy.
I was gonna say I did the same exact thing. I was TNG was my show when I was in high school. I mean, I love that thing, and I got CBS All Access for the same reason. Picard is my captain, if you want to put it that way.
Yes.
I knew there was going to be other characters returning. I had to see it. There was no question about it. I really liked the series.
Oh my God, Brett Spiner in his Data makeup was ridiculous, though. Was he not?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Totally. Yeah. At least that was like a hallucination or a dream thing, so I kind of let it slide. But I still enjoyed the show because I love those characters so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't quite make my list, but I still enjoyed it.
I enjoyed every moment of this series simply for nostalgic purposes.
Yeah, I think that's why I loved it too.
But I have to admit, I was so disappointed. I was disappointed.
Like I said, I didn't love the way that they brought it to the end. They did make it so we could have another season, but I was not really pleased with the way they ended it. But I loved the way it started. Like the first few episodes, I thought were all really solid.
They were, you know what they need is they need like CBS really needs to have like an overall Star Trek writers room and really get it all together and figure out what the hell they're doing. Because I know it's hard because there's a rush to CBS All Access and they need content. And as soon as Patrick Stewart said he'd do it, they were like, all right, we're filming Tuesday. Yep. And they just got out there and they started shooting. And from what I understand, reading that is actually what happened. And you can tell. And to me, the biggest disappointment, and I don't want to spoil anybody here, but I have to say it comes at the end. You're waiting to see what's going to happen at the end, who's coming, right? And it was not I thought if they had done I can say it without spoiling. It's not really a spoiler to say. I wanted the Borg to be in this season. I don't. How do you not bring in the
Right.
Borg?
Well,
And
they
you got
did bring in the
Picard?
Borg, but they didn't bring in the
Yeah.
Borg.
Right, they did, but you're right. So it's like I wanted that to. I wanted them.
The
to
Borg was
make a
part of the
connection.
storyline, but it wasn't the Borg. The Borg.
Yes,
That's part of why I love the first few episodes, because
Uh-huh.
the tease of the Borg coming back
Thank you.
was, I was
See,
like,
I'm glad I
yes.
mentioned it.
Just
Yep.
want to mention that Bubba chimed in and said in the chat and said that Picard needs a Grogu.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. There was something missing, and well, we hope for better. But what do you got
Yeah.
next? Next
All
up, you
right.
got one that I like
So
too.
number 9, I have Dead to Me season 2, which
The show.
stars Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini, and they are both amazing in this show. It is so much fun. I love this show. I really don't have anything specific to say about it. I just think it's a fun show. I mean, it's dealing with dead people, but it's so funny.
Yes, it has a great tone. And it's all about Christina Applegate and Linda Cardinelli. You just have to enjoy watching them because it's just them palling around. It's sweet, it's funny, and I just think it's
The first season was hilarious with her Christina Applegate not knowing that Linda Cardellini was the source of her issues, but then the fact that they came together and then having to deal with all the things they had to deal with in season 2, it was just a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Great show.
Anyone else?
I don't
All
think
right.
anyone else watched it.
Number 8, I have Umbrella Academy season 2. I thought that so I rewatched season 1 as I was going. Actually, I think I was watching season 2 and I was like, I need to rewatch season 1. So I rewatched it. And then when I started watching season 2, I was like, this is so much better. Like, I enjoyed season 2. Like, season 1, I had totally forgotten about whatever, what's her name? The
Ellen
one that's
Page?
the problem. Yes, Ellen Page's whole boyfriend thing in the first season. I had totally blocked that out of my memory. And so when I went and rewatched it, I was like, oh yeah, that's what happened. I loved season 2. I thought that they all got to expand on their characters more, and it was much more interesting and brought so much more into all of them. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did too. I liked it a lot. I thought it was much better. I had to go back and watch the last couple episodes of season 1 as well after starting season 2 because I couldn't remember any of it. But yeah, season 2, I thought it was more fun. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. Made my list as well.
That's all. Other people, Mike, isn't this on your list, or am I incorrect about that?
No, it's not on my list because I haven't finished season 2. I just started Umbrella Academy fairly recently. My wife and I went through season 1, and then we started season 2, and then something premiered or debuted that kind of got us sidetracked, and we haven't gotten back to it yet. So I'm
You'll
only
have
like
that.
1 or 2 episodes into season 2, but I enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Season 2, I think you're going to enjoy it even more than you enjoyed season 1. I think it's really great as far as like expanding the characters and their relationships with one another, and I really thought it was great.
Yeah, and I think that I don't want to spoil people, but let's just say that the issues that are happening around them that are a part of the show, I think they deal with in a really great way. Obviously mirroring things that are happening in our society as per the usual, but they did great. And Elliot Page, which is now what they call themselves, right? Elliot Page, fantastic. All the actors and actresses in this show give so much that I felt like one of the things that I really noticed with season 2 was, and it parallels the story, that I felt like they were propelling the story, whereas in the first season they were trying to figure out and constantly what's happening, what are we going to do? And
and in the
one,
first season, you even like felt like they were being so childish. Did you not? Yes. And
it's
this
about
season,
them
they grew
growing
up a little bit.
and taking ownership over their lives. And I thought that was a great kind of subplot.
And they learned to work together in a way that they had not done in all those years of growing up together. So yeah.
That to me is my favorite of the superhero team up shows, because I guess there's about 10 of them out there now, Titans and this and that. And for me, this one is great. And also, I can go right up I go like a mile away to, I think it's a Dark Horse comic, right? They always had their headquarters are here, and they have in my little town I live in, they always put like it in the window. So when you drive downtown, you see all that stuff. Great show. All right. What do you got for, your number 7 is kind of controversial.
Ratchet on Netflix. I loved this show. I loved the visuals in this show. It reminded me of like the way that they had filmed or they're still filming, I'm assuming, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Prime. But I loved the visuals. I loved how colors popped, and it was just, Axel, you could probably give me more information on it, the way that they filmed it, why it looked the way that it looked, but we don't need to go into all of that right now because we have a lot of lists to get through. But I thought it was beautiful, and I enjoyed the story, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Anyone else watch Ratchet?
No. I am a Ryan Murphy fan, but haven't caught that.
All right.
I'll watch it at some point. I just haven't been able to dive into it yet.
Good deal. My number 6 is Schitt's Creek, which we have already discussed ad nauseum per Timm. Number 5, I have Ozark season 3, which we have also discussed. Anyone have any other words about Ozark? All right. Silence means I can move on. Number 4, I have Westworld season 3, which was on someone's list prior to now, but we didn't really discuss. But 5 of 6 of us that are on this Zoom meeting have already podcasted a lot about Westworld. So does anyone have anything else to say about Westworld?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Tim.
The reason I didn't put it on my list is because I figured everyone else was going to put it on their list because all of us podcasted about it at one time or another. It was such a good show. And I'm glad you put it at the 4th spot, which I don't know if it skews the overall standings of the shows. I'm sorry, Andy. I didn't realize that this was going to affect this type of thing.
Everything's a competition, Tim. Come on.
I wanted to keep the list a little fresh, but yeah, it definitely deserved to be on there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking about it. I enjoyed watching it. Go ahead, Axel.
Yeah, the only reason it's not on my list is because it was almost like a gimme. We podcasted. I love Westworld.
I had to come up with 10, Axel. I had to
I
come
know.
up with 10.
I would have put it on there. I just knew it was going to be talked about, honestly. So it doesn't really have to do with I loved this season. I thought it was a lot of fun. Maybe it was quote unquote dumbed down in a sense, but not really too much. It was still very intricate, and I had a great time podcasting it. So, and let's move on to your number 3.
Well, hold on, Mike, you didn't podcast with us about Westworld. You got any words?
I enjoy Westworld. I feel like Westworld is, it's starting to fall out of favor with me.
Gotcha.
It's
not alone.
It's one of those things where it's like I really love the first season, but I don't know. I feel like Westworld for me. I feel like it. This is gonna sound weird. I feel like Westworld gets up its own ass a little bit too much. I like it's feeling itself a whole lot, and I feel like it does a lot of things that I feel like hamper the progression of the storyline. And what I mean by that is like I feel like they introduce confusion or things that are unexplainable or whatever to a point where it's almost like a detriment. And I'm just kind of like, okay, we don't need to be confusing for the sake of confusing. Like things need to start panning out and making sense. And I feel like Westworld, as it has progressed through the 3 seasons, it gets less and less concerned with making sense and more concerned with being confusing. Just to kind of, I don't even know why. And I don't know. I just feel like it's. I still like the show, but that's why I didn't make any of my list.
That's why it took 12 hours of us per week podcasting about it.
Oh my God.
To make
There's
it
so
good.
much podcasting going on.
Mike, normally I might disagree, but I have to agree with you. And I think that in the case of Westworld, it's perhaps at the sacrifice of the characters and our connection to them. Yeah, I think sometimes they are. I mean, it's those Nolan, that whole Nolan family, Lisa Joy, Christopher, and Jonah.
Mhm.
It seems like they start concept first and work their way back. And that can work for a 2-hour film if you can get enough emotion. But I think in Westworld, it's always, this season they did a little bit more, but I almost feel like they could have even done a better job of just telling a straight story that season, like dispensing with all of the mind games and telling a more straight
Yeah.
story. They probably could have.
Especially since they. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, especially since they got out of the park and gave us a whole lot of real world stuff, and I thought that stuff was. I thought there was a lot of potential there. Like watching the first episode, I'm like, there's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, but it kind of fell back into what I was. Well, I'm not going to say it again, but it kind of fell back into what I was thinking, and I felt like it had so much potential. Watching that first episode, watching that trailer, I thought the trailer the first trailer they put out for season 3 had me like, oh man, this is going to be so fucking good. And yeah, but no,
So,
I just.
So you're one of those it's the real world kind of guys, huh? All right.
Well, I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
What do you mean? It's a simulation. We went over this. Many
All right,
Oh.
number
Oh.
3.
Like, wait, what?
No, you got us, Tim. All right,
Number 3. I have your favorite. Well, I don't know if it's your favorite because I didn't look at your list, Axel, but Better Call Saul, season 5, which you did with Ashaya on the podcast.
Yep.
And I thought it was amazing, but I am certain that it's on your list, and I will leave it for us to talk about then.
Oh, okay.
My number 2, I have, because I don't want you to be out of good things to talk about, Axel.
True. I know. By the time we get to my list, we talked about it.
So number 2, I have The Crown season 4, which we talked about with Gina already. Does anyone have anything else to say about that?
I will say that I am going to watch it. I dropped out, but now I'm back in because I'm much more interested in Diana and Charles than I was in Princess Elizabeth's sister. And
right. And now you know that it's like dramatized and like every story might not be true, but you know that there's a grain of truth in those things, and it just makes you sad for that family.
Yeah.
But it's really good. So my number 1, give me a drum roll, please. Anyway, Outlander season 5. Because I had to come up with 10. Again, I was struggling. I actually had several on my honorable mention list before I came up with 10 to be on my actual list. And when I realized that Outlander had aired in 2020, I was really excited because I love every season of Outlander. I actually read the books long before the TV show came out on Starz, and I loved Claire and Jamie and all of them, Lord John, Murtaugh. I mean, I loved them all before I ever saw them on screen because they were all on the screen in my mind. And Sam Heughan as Jamie makes me drool. he is one amazing looking fella.
He's super hot. I will second that.
And I love Katrina Balfe or Balfe. I'm not sure which way to pronounce that.
Wow.
As Claire.
That's my reaction to her.
Wow. Yeah, I think that they are great. I love all the actors that play in it, and I'm gonna have to go get it. I wish I had it in reach. I actually bought this book called Clanlands that was written by Sam Heughan and Graham McTavish, who played Dougal in Outlander, and they traveled Scotland in a, what do they call it? What do they call an RV? A caravan. And they had all these adventures. They made a series on Starz, that's a special series on Starz about it, but they wrote a book, and I bought the book in actual book form, not on my Kindle, just because I wanted to have that book because I love those actors so much. So this is why Outlander is on my number one.
Nice.
Anyone have anything to say about Outlander? Besides me gushing mercilessly over it.
I will say that I haven't seen the show. I really want to watch this with my wife, Aaron. A Hustlero is a huge fan of this show. And I will have to say that the woman who stars in that, what is her name again?
Katrina Balfe.
Is one of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen on
She
TV.
is beautiful.
I want to watch the show just so I can watch her on TV. That's the same reason I'm liking that show on HBO with the lady
Flight attendant.
Flight
Oh,
attendant.
no. Yeah,
What an actress she is. She is so funny. I mean, I never watched The Big Bang
Kaylee
Theory.
Cuoco.
Yeah. But she was like, I got to watch that show. She's
I
so
still have
good.
to watch the last episode of that, so no one
Okay,
spoil me
no
on that
spoil.
either.
No spoiler. But that's your number one Outlander.
That is my number one Outlander.
Very great show.
Which show are you not trying to get spoiled on, Jenny? Flight Attendant or Big Bang
The
Theory?
Flight Attendant. No, I've watched the Big Bang Theory.
I'm
good on that.
Leonard dies.
The Big Bang.
Leonard dies at the end.
Never seen it.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so it's your turn, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's Mike's turn.
Oh, yes. So my number 10 is Dave, comedy on FX. I don't know, have any of you guys seen Atlanta on FX
Yes.
with Donald Glover?
Yep.
Love it.
Dave to me is very similar to Atlanta. It's about I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lil Dicky. He's like a kind of like a YouTube famous rapper kind of. But
Only from the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the show is kind of loosely based on his actual life, I think. But yeah, it's funny. Like it's really hard to describe, honestly, why I like it so much. But just watching, I thought it was just fun. And that's kind of like how Gina said that her list was split between I think what you said, like dark shows and like uplifting, lighthearted stuff. My list is kind of similar in that it's comprised of things that I just really, really enjoyed that I'm not necessarily going to be like, oh, this person had an Emmy-worthy performance, or this was an incredibly captivating drama. It's just like, yo, I just really fucking liked it. But that's how I feel about Dave. I thought it was really funny. I don't know if any of you other guys saw it. I didn't read any of you guys' lists because I didn't want to be spoiled on this podcast. So like I'm just like taking you guys' list in. I don't know if Dave showed up anywhere, but
my number one.
I loved it.
It's my number one.
Fuck out of here, Tim. No, it's not.
Scroll up on the list, bro.
I have it as an
Are you
honorable mention
serious?
as well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, I really love Dave. Really, really fun show. Did any of you guys have anything you want to say on Dave? I assumed I was the only person that even watched it, let alone put it on a list.
No, I saw 3 episodes of it, I think. And I just, I don't know, I guess it was because it was a certain mood, or I didn't, there's so many things to watch, but I thought that it was really, I mean, it definitely takes a certain sense of humor to watch that show. But that guy is, I mean, he's outrageous, and the show takes it to different levels that I very much appreciate. It's definitely an FX show.
The thing that strangely reminded me of was Seinfeld, but instead of a comic, it's a rapper. I mean, it's obviously much dirtier and everything else, but I think the highs of Dave, I think, get higher than Seinfeld ever did by the end of the season.
But that's how his raps are. If you listen to his raps, he's just straight comedy in all his raps. It's hilarious.
What was that? What'd you say, Tim?
If you listen to all his raps, he's just straight comedy. Like he's like Seinfeld when he raps.
He's really he's really good. I'm not even gonna lie, he's really good. And then I was
really sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna say I was really surprised. I was really surprised by the show. I was by episode 9 or 10. The last couple episodes I really loved. That really put it over the top for me. So I really enjoyed it too.
I thought they did too. I mean, it's a comedy at the end of the day, but they had an episode that was almost kind of like, I wouldn't call it a bottle episode, but it was kind of not in the same vein as the rest of the episodes. I think it was like a kind of almost serious episode involving that side character Gator, and I thought that episode was really good too. So
fantastic.
They did some great stuff on there. My number 9 is The Outsider, which aired on HBO. I'm really into like spooky shit that's kind of like suspenseful. Like it's not like I don't like shit with like jump scares and stuff like that. Like that's corny and it never works for me. But stuff that's suspenseful, I really enjoy. And I thought The Outsider did a really good job of being suspenseful, being interesting, being captivating. You had really good performances from Cynthia, I forget her last name, but
Erivo.
she played Erivo. Yes. She played on I think she played Harriet Tubman in something. She played in something else too, but she's been really good in everything she's been in. You got geez, well, I'm drawing a blank on everybody's name. Who's the guy that plays the main character? I'm assuming that you guys have seen it, but maybe you haven't.
Yeah, Jason Bateman, and I can't think of the other guy's name right now.
It's Ben
Mendelsohn.
Right?
That's it.
Ben Mendelsohn. Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn, always good in everything. So really, really great stuff on that show. I wanted to put it higher, honestly, but there's just some stuff that I just like more. So I guess no one else saw that, or any comments on that?
Yeah, I thought it was good. It didn't make my list, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a big Stephen King fan, so
I only didn't
One
put
of
it in my
my-
list because I thought like it was going to be so mainstream, especially compared to all the lists that I didn't look at the Facebook page posts, but like I figured a lot of people were going to include that, so I kind of left it in my honorables. But that show is outstanding.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone talking about it. Like, so I didn't know if anyone watched it or not, but
I
yeah,
think
I
a
thought it
lot
was
of
good.
people did. I think that show did well in the ratings.
Oh, good.
I think there was talk of it coming back for another season, and
yeah.
then they're not going to. But I think that may have more to do with getting Ben Mendelsohn to come back and the cast to come back for the show than them not having a story or wanting to do it, because it did pretty well. It did pretty well critically. I thought it was great, and I thought it was one of the very few film or TV on Stephen King that really did that creepy line really well, because I love Stephen King, but sometimes it can descend to something you're like, well, okay. And I thought they did a good job, even right up to the end of really incorporating the supernatural with the storylines that were going on with his son and all. I thought, it would have been on my list. But like Timm too, this was one like Westworld that I figured everyone was going to have. I thought this was great, and I would suggest anybody to watch it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I thought the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm putting this on my list because no one else watched this. So I'm glad you guys liked it. I'm sorry. Before I continue, anyone else have anything? Cool.
Just
I'll take
again,
that
this
silence
was
as a
like
no.
this was like Jason Bateman, between this and Ozark, just he blows my mind. So just extra. I never thought he would have something like this in him, honestly, even to kind of produce and everything. Yeah.
My number 8 is The Boys. I don't know if we want to talk. We haven't talked about it yet. I don't know if we want to start now, but that's my one. That's another one of the ones where it's like it just really fucking enjoy this show. It's just really, really fun to watch. I am a sucker for like I love like heavy dramas. I love suspense. I love great acting, but then I also really love over the top violence. And that show does violence so good. Like some of the best violence on TV is on The Boys, and I absolutely love it for that.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to talk about The Boys?
The Boys is, man, I thought that they did even more so. I know a lot of people thought that Umbrella Academy got better in the second season, and I think The Boys got a lot better. Like I love this season. And the whole Nazi history past and the way they got into that stuff and just the way they really sunk their teeth into the whole idea of what America is and what we value and what really kind of like gets us going. That was a great show. And Aya Cash, who is added.
She's a Stormfront, right?
Yeah, she's Stormfront. She's fantastic. Now, she was great on You're the Worst on FX. I don't know if anybody watched that. That was a great show.
That's right.
And she was fantastic on this, and she is going to be a huge star. I definitely think this role is going to propel her into being like an A-list within the next 3 to 5 years. I think she's going to get big movie roles, and because she was like heartless in that show, man.
Mhm.
Heartless. And I like what you said
Yeah.
about the violence, Mike, because I'm not usually a big violence guy, but the way that they do it and the reasons why they do it, it has a point. And I really enjoy that about the show. And also, sometimes it's just really funny to see someone's head explode.
Mhm. Yep. I love that kind of shit, man. My number 7 is The Mandalorian. It's another one where, again, you're not gonna have like, oh, this is gonna rack up all the best drama Emmys or anything like that. But again, just such a fun time. And I think my biggest issue, I don't want to call it an issue, but I guess the biggest hump that I had to get over is I'm accustomed to a plot that is progressively pushed at a standard pace throughout the entirety of a season. And it was a little off-putting to me with The Mandalorian when it started to watch that first episode and think, this is how this show is going to play out. And then it doesn't play out that way at all. And once you accept that you're going to kind of just be on an adventure of the week kind of deal, and then they're just going to finish out the main plot full throttle in like the last 1 or 2 episodes. Once you accept that and you go into it thinking like, okay, what adventure is he going to get into this week and how fun is it going to be? Once you kind of like enter it with that mindset, it gets 10 times better. And I thought this season had some really great episodes that, before, if I were going into it thinking like, okay, I really want to see how they progress the plot in this episode, it might have disappointed me. But once I accepted that and going into it, just like, okay, what's going to happen now? Like, because it's so formulaic in the sense of like, you find out at the end of an episode what his next mission, I guess, will be. And then at the very beginning of the next episode, it's like, all right, time to do this. And then somebody goes, hey, Mando, I need your help with something. And then now the whole rest of the episode is about this side quest. And at
the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the season, the only thing I cared about was, are they going to have any of those frog eggs left? Is Baby Yoda going to eat them all before they have to continue their line? But yeah, anyway.
I might be alone on this one, but that is the only episode I didn't like, was the one with the frog characters.
I agree.
The frog character was the Mandalorian Jar Jar for me.
But the thing with the Baby Yoda eating the eggs was fucking hilarious.
I loved it. The ice spiders. And, the thing about Mando for me is that, I'm obviously a huge Star Wars fan, saw them in the theater when I was a little baby, I love, and then we had the dark years where there was nothing and you just cling to remember the Clone Wars? Remember he says that? Oh my God. Now to actually have a show, all I wanted was just where I can spend a half hour or so in the Star Wars universe, and they do it. So all that, and the way that they adhere to those, they are formulaic, old school serials, what Star Wars comes from. I love that they keep it that simple, because that's why those last 3 movies for me just threw me. It's like, how much plot can you cram into this freaking movie? It's too much, so just slow down. Let me see somebody that looks like a weird alien. I love this whole season. I watched the finale
with the
oh my God.
Yeah.
I say it on Facebook all the time, and I'm Facebook friends with Gina and Timm. And Axel. I say it on Facebook all the time. Best theme on television.
Oh, it's in my head all day long.
Yep.
All day long. And the
it's
best
that
part of it,
it's that noise. When it does that,
and
I go, oh my God, Mando. I get so excited.
Yeah.
And this finale, we can't talk about it because it's so, I want to.
Yeah, I haven't watched.
I am going to talk. I do want to talk about the finale, not in detail, but I do want to mention. I do want to talk about the finale, not in any kind of detail, so you don't have to worry about being spoiled. But what I want to say about the finale, and I am now 24 hours removed from it. I have not enjoyed myself watching a television program this year more than I did watching that finale. And I don't give a fuck I don't give a fuck if it's like it's total fan service this episode, but it's balls to the wall from the very beginning to the end credits, and it's Star Wars as fuck, and I don't care. Like I watched it. I'm surprised I didn't wake up my wife because I was sitting there almost in hysterics. Like, oh, is this happening right now? Like,
Yeah, but
throughout
you're
the
sick.
entire
This is
episode.
exactly what you're talking about. How you like glorified violence. Like when they blow up
Now I'm
Grogu's head,
super
it's
looking
like,
forward. Shut up!
Oh, I'm
Don't
sorry,
even,
babe.
Tim. I
I'm
know
so
that doesn't happen.
sorry.
Just because you did that on purpose, I
I
know
did-
that doesn't happen.
Man, Mike, I couldn't agree with you more.
But
I
I'm
don't
looking
care what
forward to it
anybody
even more
says.
now.
This show is so much fun, and they honor what I love so much, the old samurai movies, the kind of Buddhist fables of Star Wars. I love it.
This
I
shit-
love watching with my son. I get super high on Thursday night and watch it, and then I watch it straight with my son and say, "Come on, let's watch it after." But I got to watch by myself first late at night. It's so
I do
good.
the same thing. I do the same thing.
Yeah,
And
so
I
good.
avoided, I could have watched it at any point yesterday. And I avoided the internet just so I could get high and watch it at nighttime.
Me too, baby.
I'll definitely make
gotta keep my
sure I
Mando
have a
ritual.
good buzz before I sit down to watch it.
Oh,
I don't
love
know it.
that.
I gotta watch it again sober, but I don't imagine that my opinion of the finale is gonna change at all. But I'm sure my elevated mental state at the time played a factor. But I mean, I was completely like, I was fanboying out like a motherfucker for 40 minutes last night, and I'm like, this is the most fun I've had watching TV all year. Like, I can't speak highly enough of the finale. I really can't.
I watched it at 9 a.m. on Friday morning, sober as hell, and it was still great. I think Mandalorian is the best Star Wars thing since 1983, and I don't think it's even in doubt.
I agree.
think it's an awesome show.
Agree.
100%.
I agree.
This is the way.
Yeah. And I
That's
I
the
do
way.
want to comment on the difference between season 1 and 2. And I do think that they did a great job of injecting a heavier arc to the series, like in the middle of this season. And
Yep.
they were so successful. They did it slowly, but then once they were in it, they stayed in it. And it just felt natural, and people were complaining that it was, not serialized enough. Now people are like, it's too serial. You can't please everyone. I think they did it perfectly. It's beautiful. Mando forever. Grogu!
Yeah, in retrospect,
Grogu!
I agree that they did it perfectly.
Yeah.
And if I had made my list after watching the finale, it'd be higher. But yeah, I can't speak highly enough of the show or of the finale. Such a good time. My number 6 is Raised by Wolves. I think that was on a list that we mentioned earlier. I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I love the fact that I spend the entirety of the Raised by Wolves episode duration just kind of thinking about it, like trying to understand it. It raises questions. What does this mean? What does that mean? And it did great stuff. Like, one of my favorite aspects of this show was how it showed the evolution of android characters. And as you see them become a little bit more human as the show progresses, I think that they did some really interesting things with android characters that I hadn't seen in anything with android characters before, that I thought was incredibly captivating. And then I thought, again, when I talk about over the top violence, this show had some great stuff, man. Some really great stuff. So yeah, I love sci-fi, and I always kind of needed to I accept my disbelief at times, kind of like, okay, this doesn't really make sense, but fuck it, it's sci-fi, right? You're not gonna understand everything, but I feel like that show did a really good job of making me think and then giving me answers at a, not necessarily at the pace that I would have preferred, but it's a show that ultimately it came around. I'd like to see a second season. I remember after watching the first episode, I'm like, how are they going to get a full season out of this shit? And they just kept expanding it and adding more depth and more character development. And I really enjoyed it week to week. And like I mentioned about release schedules earlier, I think that helped this show a lot. Being able to sit down and watch the first 3 episodes at one time. Because I might have, after the first one, I might have been like, yeah, I don't know. because the first one is very deliberately paced. It's it's something that might be a little bit of struggle to get through if you're not a big sci-fi fan. But getting those first three all at once was really helpful to keeping me involved in the show.
Me and my
You want to
husband
talk,
watched
Axel?
it. Well, I'm going to interrupt before
ahead.
he talks. Me and my husband watched it, and we watched it because I had heard it was good from Axel, and I had heard it from another podcast I listened to. And so I said, let's watch it to my husband. And when we first started watching it, he's like, who said this was good? But because of the way that they ended the episodes, like it made you keep watching, even though that first episode was hard to get through. You are not telling any lies, Mike, because it was hard to get through that first one. It was all over the place, but after that it drew you in, and we both, like, I think we started watching it late. There were more than just 3 episodes out. We watched probably how many were there in the whole season? 10? I feel like we watched
so.
Yeah, it was 8 or 10.
I feel like we watched 8 in a sitting on a Saturday or something when we didn't have anything else to do. So we watched almost all of it, and we were definitely drawn in. It was a good show.
That's crazy.
It was weird, but intriguing.
Yeah,
enough to keep you drawn in.
I didn't experience that at all. I was hooked from the minute one. I was like, I'm raised by a wolf, baby. I love this show. I was so into it. I thought the whole series was
he was drawn in enough that he wanted to keep watching.
But
so
you made a great point, Jenny, which is that when you think about it, it's such a deep sci-fi thinking show. It's very plotting and weird, and they don't really they reveal it so slowly what's really going on. But you're right, they do give good little cliffhangers at the end of episodes to kind of bring you in and
to make you want to keep to see what happens. Yeah,
I appreciate that, because it really is a high-minded show. And one of the things that surprised me is the money that they put into it. I mean, the effects on this show were amazing. Like, this was some of the stuff that you saw on this was like beyond anything that I've seen on TV before, like even better than Game of Thrones CGI was on this. And I was like, wow, there's no Starbucks cups in it. It was, I can't.
That really would have took me out of him.
I know. Hey, did we lose Gina?
Yeah,
I think we might have lost Gina.
Yeah, she'll probably be back. I would assume. Let's hope.
All right. Well, if we lost Gina, we love you. You're the best. But yeah, Raised by Wolves is on my list too. And I'll just say what I have to say about it now, which is watch it if you haven't watched it. If you love sci-fi, you will love this show. I can't wait for season 2. And check out Justin's videos up on the YouTubes, and you can see, oh, there's Gina. She's back again. Now you're on the other side of Mike on my screen. It's very
yeah. No, I have my internet did that thing it likes to do when I'm on Zoom calls. So I
was like, what happened? Mike grew a lot of hair there. He's wearing a wig now.
So I'm gonna kind of shoot through my top 5 because my AirPods are about to die and I gotta bounce in a minute. So yeah, my number 5 is Devs. I don't know if that made anyone else's list, but man, good. I fucking love Devs, man. Like, I can't even really. It's even hard for me to describe why I liked it so much. But man, Devs was so fucking cool, man. Like, I just love sci-fi shit. It had some, I don't want to call it time travel necessarily, but it had some kind of aspects of that going on. And man, I don't know, man. I can't really describe it, but Devs was so fucking cool, man. Absolutely love that one. Did anyone want to speak on Devs at all? Maybe you can put into words why it's good, unlike me.
You described it. You described it as well as I could. I thought it was good too. It's very sci-fi and it's good. It's hard to describe why it's good.
It is.
It is. It's an interesting. It's a really interesting series that definitely you need to think on and try to figure out what they're really going for here. And I thought it was fantastic. I was so happy that Hulu, what's the guy's name who did that series? Oh man.
I don't know.
I'm forgetting because he's done a couple of great sci-fi films that I really liked, and he said he's just doing one and done. So it'll be on Hulu for a long time. Go check it out. But if you like
Alex
sci-fi,
Garland, I think it is.
yeah, Alex Garland.
I think
Yes.
at the time that this was on, I told you, Axel, like this was around when In the Loop was out, and this was
Yeah.
one of the other ones that I forgot when I mentioned before, was very similar in that vein of time stuff and tinkering with machines and things like that.
It also was airing the same time as Westworld season 3, and there was a lot of similarities between season 3 of Westworld and Devs as well.
Yep. Yes.
A lot.
Yes. The virtual world plays heavily in Devs. So if you're into that stuff, hit it. And what do you got it? Are you still with us, Mike?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. You got number 4, Ozark.
Yep. Number 4 is Ozark, which we've already talked about. My number 3, again, I don't know if this made any list, is I May Destroy You on HBO. I thought, man, I May Destroy You is such a good show. It stars Michaela Cole. She's from, you might have seen her on, it was a Chewing Gum, which was I think it was a BBC show maybe, but it ended up on Netflix. She's an incredible actress. The show is essentially about she gets raped and she doesn't remember anything, and she has to kind of piece together what happened throughout the course of the season. And the way they play it out, and the way she comes, not even just the way she comes to the realization of what happened, but the dynamic between her and her friends, as it aligns with the incident that happened. It's really interesting to see how these characters deal with this situation, how they figure out what happened, how they deal with the aftermath. Like it's such an intriguing show. It has such great acting, and it's also really funny. So
it's on my list, and it's so unique in the way the storytelling is, because it comes off at the first episode as it's going to be like this, just like kind of like exploration of life story for this writer, and how she's going to like move to the next phase. And it just takes a slow turn, even though it seems like it's rapid. It, like you said, it's that slow realization of what happened and how your friends are there for you. And it's also given in that, from the European stance, where like how, like they travel from, they're mostly in England and Britain, but they go then to Italy. Like they show how easy it is to like hop around Europe and like hang out and then communicate. But then like it's a different world, but like compared to the way I guess our procedures would work and things like that. But just the way, like you said, the friends deal with it, and also the friends at the same time all have their own heavy shit going on, and how you got to navigate your friendships with your own shit.
Yeah. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I took one of my AirPods out. I looked, and one of them is for some reason closer to dying than the other. But I feel like the one that I took out wouldn't have made it. My number 2 is the
can I jump in? Can I say something about I May Destroy You?
Yeah, sure.
I have not seen this show yet, but I'm so glad you put it on your list, because I think it may be like maybe 2 or 3 shows, Better Call Saul, Queen's Gambit, and this are like kind of consensus best show of the year going around. Critics love this show, and I'm definitely going to watch it. And I know DJ loved it. That's all I have to say.
And I will also say I May Destroy You made Barack Obama's list as well. So just putting that out there.
So did The Boys.
Yes, it did. And as did Queen's Gambit and Better Call Saul. So Queen's Gambit's my number 2. I May Destroy You was my number 1 because I had forgotten about Better Call Saul briefly, and prior to watching the Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit, I'm not going to go too deep into it. I'm sure you guys will probably talk about it a little bit more after I depart. No leftovers. But I thought the Queen's Gambit, I think my favorite thing about it was how it looked. Like I can't get over, like the actress is already beautiful, but like the way they shot her, the way they dressed her, like they made her look amazing. The show looks amazing. It reminds me of kind of like a chess version of Mad Men, the way it looked. I thought the storyline was great. It took a thing about chess and made it incredibly compelling. As far as what I've heard, it's increased the sales of chess boards across the country. And man, it was such an amazing show. And it's one of those things where it's simple. It's not something incredibly complex where it's like, oh, these are all the reasons that I like it because it's doing all of these crazy things. It's like, nope, it's just a show that does the fundamentals at the very highest level. So absolutely love the Queen's Gambit. And I think also it was the surprise of it as well. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. That really boosted it for me as well. And
Can
then my
I say
number
one thing about that before you
yeah.
move on to number one? I'm just going to say
Yeah.
this one thing because I've only watched the first episode in totality, but my husband watched the rest of it and I saw bits and pieces of some of the later episodes. But because of watching the first episode and it was so good, even with just the little girl, that I'm going to watch the rest of it. I just have to get around to it. I've got other shit I'm watching, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, people talking about it and saying how good it is and having seen bits and pieces of it, I definitely agree with you. It definitely deserves a place on the list.
I knew after the first episode that I was going to love the show. I knew
right.
That
That's why I was like,
so
I'm going to keep watching this, but I needed to like go to bed or whatever. And he was continuing to watch it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just watch the rest of this by myself. And I just haven't had a chance to get to it yet, but I'm going to, and I look forward to it.
I expect some Emmy nominations coming for that show too.
Definitely.
I'd be surprised if it doesn't.
I haven't watched any of it yet, so it's on my list too.
I think my favorite thing about the show, it's kind of one of the reasons why I love Mindhunter so much as well. It's about really people that are really, really good at their jobs, and I can in a million years could never do it. That's kind of a little subgenre that because I could never do that, but she's amazing. She's smart. She does something really cool that I could never do.
Yeah. Andy, you make a great point. A lot of the fun of the Queen's Gambit is just watching her be awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, you know where the show's going right away. It's about like a Rocky type of story, but with chess.
Yeah,
and that didn't matter to me one bit. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, I have to say that the thing that surprised me most about the Queen's Gambit, and it's on my list, is how fun it is and how easy to watch it is. Because a lot of times people describe a show, hey, watch this show. It's really deep, and you see this show, it's a period piece, right? It's a young woman. You think, okay, this is going to be like a really deep, involved story. And it is, but it's also super fun. They put a ton of money into it. It looks like it's $1 billion show. You're right about Mad Men, except they actually left the set and went outside on this show.
Yeah, that is part of it for sure. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and you could tell some of the CGI background, it's not, but it's great. And they travel the world. She is remarkable. And the thing too is she's so photogenic. When you see her photo, it almost betrays her acting ability because you almost feel like you're going to be distracted by like her eyes and how she looks so interesting, but she's so natural and cool. She's like a person you'd want to hang out with, at least me, because she's like so smart. And I love like Andy said, I love watching shows with really smart people doing their job really well. I just love that.
Plus, she can party, man.
Yeah, she's smart. That's what I'm saying. She's cool. She's super smart, but she's super cool and good at chess. And I don't know, man. I was not expecting how fun that show was going to be.
And my last statement on that, there was a shot of her. I think she was like reading a book or something, and it was a profile shot. So it's looking at her from the side, and the way it was lit and the way she looked from the profile angle, it was so beautiful. It looked like a painting almost. And I'm like, man, whoever is shooting this, the cinematographer on that show, my God, amazing stuff. And then my number one is Better Call Saul. I'm sure you guys are going to have a lengthy discussion about Better Call Saul. It's probably at the top of most people's list. I'm only going to say two things about Better Call Saul: Lalo and Kim Wexler.
Amen, brother.
Love it.
I'm done.
All right, Mike's out. Mike, thank you for coming.
See you guys. Great time.
Beautiful. That was
Bye,
a great
Mike.
list.
See you
and
later,
we're
Mike.
Definitely gonna talk.
See
See
ya.
you, Mikey. I called him Mikey. I don't know if I ever called him Mikey before. We've reached a new level. of
Well, you'll
friendship.
have that.
I actually got dinner coming up in a few minutes. So if I could run through my list.
All right, you go, then Andy go, then I know we've been doing this so long.
I know we've been talking forever.
We've given the people what they've wanted. So go
Yeah,
ahead. Tim.
I just got the look. So
I'm eating a hot dog.
I went from 10 to 1. So I took out I said, mentioned a couple of times already. I took out the obvious ones that were just so good. Mandalorian, I actually put him as honorable mentions because it was kind of funny place to put him. Lovecraft Country, Mandalorian, Outsider, just to
I didn't
me,
even go over my honorable mentions.
yeah, like they, I just kind of jokingly put them there. Figure, Westworld obviously would be in there, but because we covered that at length. But so these were shows that really that I enjoyed over the season. The first was The Order, season 2.
I like that too.
And I watched The Order season 1, and my friend told me about it. He's like, "Yo, watch this
It
thing."
was fun.
And it was kind of like a teeny type show, but it took me back to those days of watching stuff on the WB network or now the CW or whatever it's called.
Syndicated.
Yeah, something like that. And it was certainly fun, and it had a lot more mythology to it that I really thought a show like this would have. And that's, I think, what kept me into it, like wanting to know these secrets and things of the Order, which is basically like a college fraternity for witchcraft and wizardry for adults. Like it's interesting. It would be like a little cheesier version of like what Harry Potter would go to college with and stuff.
Right. Or there's another show called The Magicians that was based on a series of books that is a similar vein, but The Order was a little different and I liked it too. I thought it was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Number 9 was HBO's show I Know This Much Is True. This was a hard pill to swallow in watching it, but watching Mark Ruffalo play 2 characters in the same show so vastly different, and the fact that they're brothers and there's so much mental trauma that these characters go through, it made it very such a highly elevated show to me that it deserved to be on the list because I thought it was that good. Now, did I enjoy the subject matter? No. Did I enjoy the some of the things that happened? No. But for the storytelling and the way it was told, it was a beautiful piece.
Yeah, I haven't checked this out. I just have one question. Is the song in the series?
I don't know.
I know this much is true. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it may have
Axel,
been.
come on now. Gina's got something to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I read this book when it came out years ago, and that is actually the one reason I have not watched it yet, because it's heavy. It's super just heavy content.
Yeah. I wanted to watch it, but I have to tell you that's keeping me away a little bit. It's some heavy stuff, but I think Ruffalo is amazing.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's like, I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And I'm like, oh, but do I want to watch this right now? Because 2020.
But just watching the acting is outstanding.
You've given me another reason to watch it, Tim, because a podcast that I listened to reviewed it and it said it was really good too. And I'm just like, I haven't watched it yet. And I do like that type of thing. It is a little heavy, but I will definitely add it to my list because you had it on your list.
Thank you. Now, to take it up a lighter notch was The Politician season 2. I think was in Gina's honorable mentions, if I recall. This was just a fun show. The season 1 was, I think, a little bit better, but season 2 held its ground and it expanded the world a little more, but it just kept the same exact quirkiness. The acting was great. It was funny. and I like the whole idea of, poking fun at politics the way they do, but it's still being kind of close to reality of how actually everything works.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute. I actually like season 2 better than season 1 because I felt like it was just nice to get them out of high school, I think, in a different environment. The additions of Bette Midler and Judith Light to the cast, like, amazing.
Nice.
Those ladies are great, a great ad, and it made it a lot of fun.
Yeah, Judith Light was really outstanding in this season, and I hadn't seen her. I don't know I don't know what she's done a lot of, maybe theater or Lifetime
Who's
stuff
the
that I don't
boss?
watch. But no,
Yeah,
like
who's the
right,
boss?
Isn't it
like
another-
that's
was
what
it-
I know her from. But
Yeah,
was-
but she was in another like mini series that was
She was
kind of.
also on a soap opera before Who's the Boss?
But do you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
Was she in that one with
she-
Jeffrey Tambor? Was she in what was that? The one on Amazon?
Transparent?
Yeah, was she in Transparent?
That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yep, she was.
I
on
never watched that,
Transparent.
but I seem to remember her. She might have been in that.
Yep.
She also must be kind of in the Ryan Club because I think Politician is another Ryan Murphy show.
Yes, it is.
She was also had a small role in the assassination of Gianni Versace when
Right.
that came out.
Yep.
And yeah, so that was something that she'd done more recently, but this is like I think her second thing with
She
her,
was
yeah.
always my favorite part of Who's the Boss. I thought she kind of reminded me of, well, my mom's name is Judy, I guess. So kind of.
I mean, save
Brings
that
it
for
back home for
save that
ya.
for the therapist couch, buddy.
I know. Save that for this much is true.
The next I had was Upload,
Nice.
which was totally unique. I didn't really think I would like this as much as I did. Very cool
Virtual
show.
worlds.
Really, really good. I agree with you, Tim. It made my honorable mentions. It almost was in my top 10, but I loved it a lot. Big surprise for me as well.
Yeah, and I like those little surprises that like
Yep.
sometimes, like you think it's gonna be, sucky. And there was a lot of lulls during the season where I was barreling through things too fast.
Yep.
So I was like calling Axel certain times, like, give me some stuff to watch. And he's like, all right, so when I would come across these obscure things and then actually like them, it was a pleasure.
Good list.
Number 6, I think came out in January on Netflix. I don't think I watched it until maybe March, but it was called White Lines. And it's a show about a bunch of partiers in Ibiza, a party island off of Spain that has massive clubs. And I thought my friend pitched it to me like, oh, it's going to be just about the club scene. And she's a clubber as well. And I thought it was going to be like, oh, in that vein. And it totally is. And there's DJs and clubs and you see all that. But I grew to like it so much more because it wound up being a murder mystery story that you start going to Ibiza at this time frame. Say it was like 2019 when they filmed it or whatever, into 2020. So it goes back to 2000 where the murder happened. So you're getting a full, I would say maybe almost 3/4 of the show takes place in 2000. And you see like a little bit of the old way of Ibiza that was a little more party, and then going into the future as it gets more corporate. And it's a very cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very cool show. And that caught me way off guard. Because again, I went in thinking it was just gonna be like kind of like a DJ, like which usually DJ party story, which usually aren't very well told. And they're more like for the aesthetics. But yeah, that was really cool.
Can I ask you one question? Is the
Yes.
song in the series?
Yes, there's like remix, there's like a remix like in the club. The guy, yeah, all types of cool like little tidbits like that. And it's funny, has some funny parts too.
Okay.
Next, we talked about I May Destroy You, which was phenomenal. Just you heard the way I described it. Number 4, I typically do not watch a lot of animated stuff that's new. I've watched some older stuff, that I loved. I actually rewatched Legend of Korra over the pandemic era. But I made Blood of Zeus came on Netflix, and I'm like, what is this? And I think it's R-rated if I'm not mistaken. It's either definitely
it's NC-17.
yeah, and it just sucked me in. I watched the whole thing in I think 2 days, and it was such a cool story in the realm of the story of the Greek gods. And it was about another son of Zeus and another, like, I don't know if it actually has like a real grip in some kind of actual fable, or it was just like someone kind of like fan fiction off of this world. I didn't look into it because I just enjoyed it. Usually, like, if this was like on a History Channel type thing, I might have like dug into the internet and like read more about it. But I just liked the story, and it told a cool story, and I was in the right frame of mind to watch it, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Awesome.
Now, the next three are closing out the way I spent a lot of the pandemic watching a lot of comedy, a lot more comedy than I normally have, a lot more stand-ups, not so much sitcoms, but a lot more stand-ups, listening to a lot of podcasts, comedians podcasts. And I watched a couple stand-ups with Bert Kreischer. Well, shortly after his second stand-up that I watched, the show The Cabin with Bert Kreischer debuted on Netflix. And this is such a unique style of a show. It's like a reality show. It is a reality show. He takes a cabin that he rents in the Northwoods of Malibu somewhere. I don't know if that's in Northwoods or the woods of Malibu somewhere. And it's like a really nice log cabin looking like property. And it has like multiple features of things to do. And he invites 2 to 3 guests each episode to stay for the day. Some might stay over for the night, and they just hang out all day and they talk about what they do. They just really like hang out and they shoot the shit. Some are comedians, some are actors. They talk about craft, and then they like have fun. They do like some activities, archery. They'll do axe throwing. One where they tried to do fishing in a river in like these waders, hip waders and stuff. And it just, to me, it was a unique spin on an interview type show and like a getting to know you show, and especially in a comedic way. He had Caitlyn Jenner on one episode. He had Haley Kuko on one episode. Joel McHale. Just a very cool way to like fuse comedy with like living, because each episode also featured a way to relax and enhance his life because he was getting stressed out. So he brought in this person who sets up all these bowls and cups and plays all different sounds on them, and you're supposed to like relax to the sound meditation. One was steam sauna bath into a cold bath into a sauna, then acupuncture, and like all these different like things. So he like combined like an activity, a relaxation thing, like a life improvement thing, all with discussion. And I think that was, one of my favorite shows until I got to get a free trial for Showtime. And a new docuseries called The Comedy Store had just come out, and it's 5 parts, and it just climbed so far up the list. It is so good. It tells the full story of the famed comedy club in Los Angeles called The Comedy Store. And it has interviews with all types of comedians from the early days to the current days who have played there, lived in the apartment above the place, and just been around the place their whole lives. And it was such an homage to comedy that that's why it just like shot so far up the list. Has anybody seen that at all?
No, but I definitely started to play it. And then I don't know what happened. It was like late at night, but I want to get to that because the Comedy Store, man, what a history. And also if you're a fan of Mark Maron and you've heard about like the strike they had and all that, they cover all of that.
All of it.
And I think that that's so, and what a crazy place that was. That's like Pauly Shore, Mimi Shore, was that her name?
Yes, it was. Yep.
What a history. And I know Solo loves that kind of LA history stuff too. I love, whether it's whatever city it is, I love when you get a peek inside how America and the city grew over the time period of the actual establishment. And an establishment like that, which basically affected the whole world. I mean, people became the biggest stars in the world from that place.
And that's the way they kind of frame it.
And she always kept it small though. Like that's the weird thing, like she never sold out to a big corporate or did like 1 million comedy stores in every city. Like she kind of kept it as her spot. And I think it's so interesting, man. Like who knew that Pauly Shore was like a prince of Hollywood,
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very cool story. So I'm going to finish up with my number one, which was Dave. And Mike talked about it earlier, and it's Little Dicky. He is, I knew, I've known of him for a few years now. He's hilarious. You can find a lot of his stuff more on YouTube. I don't even know, if he might have one album out, but like he was like a YouTube sensation, and he just, started just making these great raps, and they're so funny. He did a song with Snoop, and he started getting notoriety, and this is his story, and it's told in such a quirky way that it's definitely feels FX. Like Mike said, it feels like Atlanta. It has that FX sheen on it, but it just, to me, was one of the coolest stories. I love hip hop, I love music, but I love the story of like how you put your crew on and how you work the industry, and you see his way through the industry, and how being a white comedic rapper really isn't the best selling, thing for any labels. So for him pitching it to all different labels and getting no's and no's and no's and saying, seeing how it's done, finally how it comes out, it's cool. Good story.
Nice. Well, that's a great list, DJ. You really had a lot of variety there. You're a variety guy. We had talked about so many. I mean, when we get to Andy and my list, I think we've got like 2 things that haven't been mentioned so far.
Yep.
Got the good variety. Thank you, DJ. Well, let's keep it moving. We got me and Ando, and then we're gonna.
Right. One thing though that we've mentioned several times and we still haven't talked about is Better Call Saul. So we got to hit it on one of your 2.
Oh yeah, it's there.
Well, I'm gonna dip out and go eat some food and have some dinner. But I appreciate you guys having me on. This was fantastic, and I look forward to hearing the rest.
Love you, DJ. Bye.
Love you guys.
Oh, by the way,
yes,
everyone on Facebook land too.
Yes, I've been kind of monitoring a little bit.
Thank you for doing that, DJ.
Bob has been there. Justin's been there.
Yep. Very cool. All right,
Gareth,
let's keep it moving. Guys. Thank you, DJ. We'll see you soon, brother. Ando, let's knock them out. We got me and you. Let's just talk about the ones we haven't talked about.
Okay. For one thing I do want to get before I get to my top 10, there's just a couple of honorable mentions that haven't been mentioned, and since they were canceled, High Fidelity on Hulu, really, really good. If anybody hasn't seen that, it's worth watching with Zoe Kravitz. And another one I just watched recently, I Am Not Okay With This on Netflix. It's a superhero show that also got canceled. It stars the girl that played Beverly on the first It movie. It's kind of a cross between X-Men and Carrie and The Breakfast Club. It's really short, 25, 30-minute episodes. It's 7-8 episodes. If you're into superhero stuff, check it out. It's very cool. Otherwise, my top 10 list is, I've kind of renamed it how many shows I can fit in that had Giancarlo Esposito playing a bad guy that you love to hate. Because that literally, when I looked at it, 4 of my top 10 have him in that role. Not sure what that says about me, but my number 10 was Ozark. Number 9, The Boys. Number 8, Raised by Wolves. Number 7 is a show that I don't think many people have seen or even heard about. It's Harley Quinn. It's the animated series. It started on DC Universe, and then HBO Max has basically gobbled it up and is playing it now. Not the Harley Quinn movie. This is a animated series, stars Kaylee Cuoco. It's from her production company. She is excellent in it. The voice cast for this is great. Tony Hale, Jade Move, Alan Tudyk, Giancarlo Esposito plays Lex Luthor, Jim Rash from Community. It's another show that's very hard to explain why I like it. It's hilarious, violent, has a ton of heart. It just has a different spin on the superhero genre that you don't often see because it's animated. You can do different things. I think one of the more interesting things is most of the male characters in it, the male superheroes, are generally idiots, and the female ones are the smartest ones. And they're always, even though they're not treated that way, they're definitely the smartest ones. They're the heroes. Even the villain females are heroes for the most part.
As in
well, exactly. Yeah. So Harley Quinn, and it's short, 20, 30-minute episodes. If you're into any of that, sounds interesting. I think it's a very cool show. I was not expecting to like it at all.
Andy,
but
a lot of people,
very good.
I was muted. A lot of people have that on their lists, and I've heard that even if you're not like a superhero animation fan, that you can find something to like about it. So I want to check that out. And
it's really smart, and it's not. I mean, when I saw it DC, I'm like, DC hasn't done much good in a long time.
Yeah.
This is the best thing they've done since the Nolan movies, I think. At least that's been tied into DC stuff that I've seen anyways. Let's see. My number 6 was The Queen's Gambit. Number 5, Westworld. The only thing I'll have to add on Westworld is I'm honestly not sure how high it would be if we hadn't all podcasted with it. That definitely enhanced the show for me. So I might be biased on that. I don't know, because that's the first show I ever podcasted week to week with. And I know I've told Tim and Gina this many times, that it was a blast.
Tina.
And definitely
Tim
elevated
and Gina.
the series.
It's Tina. Tina's good.
Yeah, exactly. That can be their couple name.
We
Perfect.
lost Gina for a second again.
The
internet must be dropping.
Yeah, we'll get her.
Oh, it's that time of day.
You know what? That's funny, Andy, because it's like that's reverse of what Tim and I were saying. I think that I'd be more defending Westworld if I didn't see it on people's lists. I probably would have added it to mine because I really enjoyed that season, and the podcasting and being able to listen to your guys' show and everything made it so much fun. But even apart from that, I think that they did a great job with the season. You know,
they did.
Well, that's the thing. I still love it a lot. I mean, it's still my number 5 show. And there's no way to know, but I'm curious to know how much I would like it if we hadn't podcasted about it and listened to everybody else and all the text chains that we all had together and the exchange. I mean, that stuff was, and it was all going on during the pandemic. So everybody, and I mean, I was stuck in my tractor, so it was basically like being in isolation anyways. So
you had to listen to me laughing in your headphones. I'm sorry.
Yes, it was awesome. And all the texting doing that stuff. I mean, it was just, so I know that's played a part of it. There's no way I can ever separate it. I still loved this. I loved the season a lot. So
I was really glad to be able to podcast about it this year, because like in previous years, when I've listened to Axel podcast about it with other various people, I was like commenting back out loud. So
me too.
it was really, I really enjoyed being able to like make my comments out loud and like have other people hear it. So I mean, I felt really good. I really appreciated that. Thanks, Axel.
That was awesome. Hey, that worked out so smooth too. It was just like, everybody wants the podcast, let's do it.
I know we probably overkilled Westworld, but you know, it was fun. Yeah. It was a good time.
Yeah, that's okay. Overkill is what this podcast does best, I think. This podcast today is proof of that. So,
we have been talking for a long time.
It's so crazy. I had to take a break before to drive Lachlan to college because we were on this podcast for so long. I didn't even know he got in. But he was like, Dad, you gotta drop me off. It starts tomorrow. You've been podcasting for 10
He's going to be getting married soon, Axel. We better hurry up.
I think he just walked in here with
be a grandfather by the time you get a podcast.
Yeah. Let's see. My number 4 was Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
We don't need to talk about that anymore. My number 3 is a show nobody's mentioned. It was on a few people's lists, I know. What We Do in the Shadows.
That was on my
season a lot.
honorable mentions. I enjoyed that, and I started
Jay had
watching
that
it
on
because
her-
of
on her
Axel
list, too.
talking about it on the podcast.
Yeah. What a
Yeah, it's
show.
a show I really enjoyed the first season, and I thought the second season took it to a whole even better area. I think it's the funniest show I've seen all year. It's just I've watched a couple of the episodes. One in particular, I've watched I think 3 times, maybe 4 times, because
Which
it
one?
never.
Come on.
The Jackie Daytona regular human bartender.
I love that show. Was so much fun.
Oh,
And it's really fun guest appearances. One of them from somebody that we all know from when we were kids, but I don't want to spoil it for somebody that hasn't seen it because he's fantastic as a vampire.
Yeah.
It's just a really fun show. And if you're not into vampires, I think you'll enjoy it. If you know vampire lore at all, you'll love it even more because they reference pretty much every vampire thing from Twilight to
They
Interview with a
do.
Vampire
They do.
to Dracula at some point. So
Sparkling.
just a show that I love. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it inspired me so much. I loved one of the show that so much. I watched one of the other, got one of the stars in the show. I can't remember his name right now. Did a show called Toast of London, British show from a few years ago that I watched on
Yeah, I
Netflix too,
watched
just
a couple
because I
episodes.
enjoyed him so much.
Yep.
Otherwise, let's see. Number 2, Mandalorian. Like I said, you can't really say much about it. It's just a blast. I think, as I said before, it's the best Star Wars thing since Return of the Jedi. I just absolutely love it. There's not a show you can talk in depth on. I just love it. And number 1 is Better Call Saul, which I'll let Axel lead that discussion because it speaks for itself.
See,
Well,
I
you know what?
passed
The
that
best
off
season
to
yet
Axel too.
I'm going to do my
Yeah.
list in reverse, and that's my number 1. So let's just talk about Better Call Saul.
Nice.
The best show on television this season, like Mike said, Lalo, Kim Wexler, and don't forget about Saul. I mean, it's like everybody's so great on that show that you sometimes forget the lead is amazing. Did you never in my life did I think that the guy from Mr. Show would end up being the greatest dramatic actor maybe of our gen. I mean, I don't know how to express how deep my love is of Better Call Saul. I would marry it if my wife let me and thruples were legal. It is so good. Allowing that to become the Kim Wexler show slowly but surely, where you kind of discover, wait a second, there's another someone else is Breaking Bad. And when Lalo showed up, I was like,
Breaking Bad first, though.
Yeah, true that. I was like, who's Lalo? Who is this guy, Lalo? He's just sitting there, all of a sudden he just appears. Then he's like my favorite character on television. I'm tuning in each episode hoping Lalo will be on. And that's not even to talk about the production and the best TV producers, TV crew on TV working together, just banging it out like they're making a show in their backyard, but it's just comes on TV and we all can enjoy it. I don't know. I'm like so happy now. I was a little tired, but I'm so happy now that I just get to talk about how much I love Better Call Saul.
And you haven't even mentioned Mike or the chick, Giancarlo Esposito. I mean, the show is so deep, you can talk about it for hours. And you have.
Yeah, I have. And because every time a little character just shows up for one scene, it's like amazing casting. And you want to have a whole show about that person because that is like the most pure, that I think my number 1 and number 2 are Better Call Saul and Mando, the same as yours, Andy. And that's because I think those shows are just like, to me, it's why I love film from the beginning. When I was a little kid and I picked up a camera and I just put things together and had fun with my friends. And that's what they're doing on those shows. Go ahead, Jenny.
I raised my hand here and on the chat. So with Better Call Saul, the no spoilers, but the episode where Jimmy was in the desert.
Holy cow.
The episode of the year.
That was just fucking amazing. It was so crazy and just so good. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
No.
So you can go back and I'll lower my hand.
How about when Mike was in Mexico? that,
Oh.
Yeah.
that little part. And when Gus
Yeah.
comes and visits him, I mean,
Mhm.
Gina, do you not watch Better Call Saul? She's
She's
muted.
got to mute,
It's
unmute.
I'm gonna keep on talking until she unmutes. Hey, Gina. So
Okay.
your name?
So I've seen maybe 4 episodes of season. What season was the last season? 6?
5.
Okay, so I've seen like 4 episodes of season 4, but I haven't watched it from beginning to end because
Okay.
it was one that like my boyfriend started watching, so I've watched several episodes, but not from the very beginning. But it does seem like a good show, but I'm not current. It's one of those I need to go back and invest
So
myself.
see, I'm glad I didn't spoil. I just said Jimmy in the desert. Left it at
I
that.
mean, I just
And when you get
imagine-
there, you'll be like, okay, she was right.
I'm imagining scenes that are similar to like, when Gus Fring goes to the nursing home, ding, ding, ding.
Right.
That's just kind of what I'm imagining in my head might be happening.
You let me tell you, Gina, one day you will watch it. I know you will.
Oh,
And you'll
yeah.
start from the beginning and you'll be crying, you'll be laughing, you'll be amazed. It's so beautiful. And like I said, just such a pure show that they just want to tell the story of these characters. And it's just amazing. It makes me cry. I mean, like I could be crying just watching how they shoot it, let alone the depth of character to it.
And you'll remember this conversation when you get there.
You will.
I will. Okay. I will.
Because you know
Definitely.
why?
Oh, the desert.
We'll still be having it. We'll still be live on Facebook.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. I'll go back.
All right, come on, Axel.
All right, I'm going to go through my
Move it
list. We
along.
can all go home. All right. For me, number 1, Better Call Saul. Number 2, Mando. Number 3, Dark season 3. We've talked about this show on the podcast before. German show. You can watch it either in subtitles or with the dubbing. It's the dubbing. They do a great job.
They do.
Yeah, the
Amazing.
Podcast Network did it, covered this too. Bubba and his sister, mother, brother, sister, aunt, cousin. And that was, man, dark. I can't even talk about it. It's crazy. You got to watch it. Number 4.
There's no shame in using the subtitles. No shame at
no
all.
shame. No shame.
I
No
just
shame.
watch it in the
Oh, the
dubbed
dub,
version
the
because
dub.
it's
No
way
shame.
easier.
Yeah.
It was
They
too
did a good
complex for
job.
me to understand and read at the same time. Maybe that says something about my
Right.
intelligence.
You
But
need to watch it and read the fucking dialogue at the same time.
yeah, I can't do that.
That's
That's
too much
at
when
once.
there's a lot going on.
Especially in dark, just getting the
Yeah.
names down. Let me tell you, that is a show that people are pretty good about not spoiling on the internet. So if you put in like Dark season 1 character list, you can get a tree and they'll show you just season 1 and then season 2 and then season 3. And okay. Anyway,
It's all over the place.
I love it though. Number 4, Raised by Wolves. I already talked about it. Number 5, Devs. Alex Garland, fantastic show, very heady, great to binge, a great binge watch. That show is too. Number 6, Jenny and I did a pod on it. The Circle, Send Message. I love this show on Netflix. It was early in the year.
I
Go
put
ahead,
it on
Jenny.
my honorable mentions because I had so much fun podcasting with you about it. The show was ridiculous. It's so silly, but it was fun.
It's great. It's basically like 6 people locked in like a hotel and they only communicate via a Twitter that
computer.
only they see. So it's like they're talking to each other on Twitter, sending messages, and then they play games. It's
Awful,
really
but fun.
But the thing about it is that it has so much heart. It really does. And they did 2 seasons of it in the UK. Watch the first season first because they spoil the first season within 5 minutes of the second episode.
Can't get
of the
it unless you're lucky
season.
like you
I
and
know.
got it from someone else.
Yes,
I'm not
someone
going to
hasn't
throw
got it.
her name under the bus.
But it's worth watching. And their new season's coming out in January.
Oh, we might have to do a couple quick podcasts about it, Axel.
Definitely. I love it. Love it.
That was
My
the fun
number
last year.
It was so much fun. And especially because you felt like you were it was like pre-quarantine, but then
Yes.
I watched the British one during the quarantine and I was like, this is my life. Number 7 is The Boys season 2. We talked a lot about it. Number 8, Gina had this on her honorable mention, Survivor, Winners at War. I'm a huge Survivor fan. This season was great. It had all my favorites. Yeah, they threw in some weird stuff like they always do, but I loved it. I thought it was great from beginning to end.
The wrong person won.
I agree, but that happened, when that happens on Survivor, I'm kind of like, well, I like this season, so
Yeah.
it never
Yeah.
makes me angry at who wins the season.
Yeah. Their best seasons are the ones where they have back people from previous seasons, in my opinion. I think
I
it
agree.
makes it so much more interesting.
I agree, especially now where the new people try so hard to make a name for themselves that it's a little bit annoying. That I like that you have these past winners who were just confident and they were playing the game from the jump. And I think that season is going to change Survivor going forward.
So I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
Because I haven't watched Survivor in a really long time, but I watched like the first, I don't know, 6 or 8 seasons. Were there any of the people that I would know on this last season?
Yeah, there were a couple.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
there were a couple
continue.
that you'd know. Yeah, definitely.
Sorry.
It was more heavier to more recent seasons, of course, but there were like 2 or 3 people from those first 6 or so seasons. Ethan was on it. Ethan's on.
I'm where you are, Jenny. I saw like the first 2 or 3 seasons, and I haven't seen anything since then.
I actually watched quite a few of the, but I quit after a while. I was like, yeah, this is just getting old.
I got
they
into
all
it
are just
late.
backstabbing.
Yeah, it really evolved. I got into it late, and it was really people, Jay and Jack, keep on how much they loved. I was just like,
I actually started during the first season, but I started like at the end of the first season. So like I saw Amber and Richard and in that season, and then like the Outback, and then like after that for several seasons I watched, but then I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
Oh, well, I love it. Does.
But when you said Ethan, that rang a bell, so I'm gonna have to look it up. So
check it out. My number 9, we talked about already, Queen's Gambit. So much fun, and what a fantastic starring role. She is going to be a huge star. And my number 10. Oh boy, I'm so excited. I waited 3.5 days through this podcast to talk about these shows. I changed my number 10 on Andy.
You put a whole lot on there. That's not fair, Axel.
Axel had to text me at like 2 a.m. last night to say he had made a massive change to his list, and he didn't want to piss me off.
It was only 11 p.m. for him. Or
right.
Sad thing is, I was still up, so that's.
Oh no.
It is. See, I was going to put The Expanse season 5, but it's only 3 episodes. It's not fair for me to put it on. So I had to go with Bravo. Just Bravo. $1 Million Listing, Top Chef, Real Housewives, Summer House, Vanderpump Rules, Watch What Happens Live. I'm missing one. Southern Charm, Below Deck. Each week, my wife and I gather around the Jenny's having a brain aneurysm. We gather around the set a couple times and we watch Bravo. I'm a huge Bravo fan. I tape Watch What Happens Live every night. I love Andy. I don't watch all the Real Housewives, but I definitely watch everything else. The new Housewives in Salt Lake City is amazing. It is so weird. Yes, Gina, it is so
That's
weird.
on now?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's one that I'm like, because I do limited Real Housewives, but when I heard they were doing that, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be
hilarious.
Crazy.
I watched Sister Wives, and that's close enough to Real Housewives Salt Lake.
And you're hitting on why Salt Lake City is interesting, because it is the weirdest of the housewives. And
well, I mean, technically, so much of Utah is a dry state. And traditionally, all these Real Housewives.
Yeah. Oh, they talk about that. They talk about that a lot.
The events and the get-togethers revolve around alcohol and definitely don't revolve around religion for the most part. And that's another thing. So I was just like, this is
actually, so Gina, you just gave me an in for me watching that season, because any of the other ones I give 0 fucks.
Yeah.
Axel.
That's how I feel. I
0.
watch New York,
but like that to me would be more interesting, because it's not just based on getting with somebody else's husband or the man down the
Oh.
street or your pool boy
This was
and
funny.
drinking.
One of the women
Like,
married to her grandfather.
But
but see,
One of the
that's
women is married
salacious.
to her
That's
grandfather.
like something I'd be more interested
Oh,
in
God.
finding out why the fuck she did that
See?
than any of the other stories. So yeah.
Beautiful television, people. Okay, this is
oh
world
my
changing
God.
stuff.
Love you, Axel. However,
No, I
I-
know.
This
how
is
you
why you
send
did
it
your-
all.
leave something to be desired.
Queen
brought
Is this
Candace,
why you did your list in
Real
reverse?
Housewives of Salt Lake. I don't know.
This you did the list in reverse because this is secretly your number one, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. And I have to give
Yeah.
a shout out to Summer House, a group of hardworking New Yorkers party in the Hamptons every weekend. Oh my God, it's such trash. I love it. $1 Million Listing. Oh, Frederick is like my soul brother. I love that guy. Frederick from $1 Million Listing New York.
I haven't watched that, but
Lovely.
I actually watched some similar stuff on another channel with like luxury house listings,
what-
and I love watching it. It's so stupid because I'm never gonna be there, but
no,
I'm like,
no.
I would. It's yeah.
Selling Sunset on Netflix. Have you checked that out? That's a good one. That's a good one. Vanderpump Rules, which is over now. It's over. Vanderpump Rules is done. They fired everybody, but I loved it while it lasted. And one last shout out to right now, one of the weirdest shows to watch during Corona, Southern Charm, where Corona lasted for 10 days. And they just are out partying, and there's like they have a mask on for a second, and then they're just like, let's get drunk. And they're all in their 30s and 40s. This is not like a bunch of kids in college. It's like an alternate world that you're watching, and it's I have to kind of respect Bravo for still putting it on, because they know the editing shows that they know what's going on here, that it's not good what they're doing. And it's just so weird, but that's it. It's the ultimate Anna. I put like 8 shows. No one's here that remembers Anna. Well, yeah, Ann, do you remember Anna?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that was
Lost
like your
Days.
one of the podcasting partners from Lost, right?
Yeah,
I never
Anna from
listened
Indiana.
during the Lost days because I came into Lost way late.
Yeah.
But Heath and Anna did stuff together, right? I've heard a lot of that.
Anna was just, whenever Heath did a list, Anna would have like 5 options for every one. She'd be like, now at number 5, I have 4. Now at
Nice.
number 2, I have 5.
So you
her
are
top
the
10 is actually
ultimate
more like a top-
Anna because you have 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shows
8
as
shows.
your number 10.
Number 10.
Yeah, her
The
top 10s
Bravo-
would be like a top 25 or something like that usually.
Nice. Nice.
But that's it. We've reached the end of the podcast.
Oh my Lord.
We've been
Yay.
talking for like 3.5 hours, I think.
We've been talking for fucking ever.
I know. Wait a second.
Yeah, speaking of Lost podcast, this is Lost level here.
My God, Lachlan just walked in with my grandchild.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you. I didn't even know you were
So-
married.
Yeah, I've got to go teach Luke to
Yeah.
shave. So
Facebook, it says 3 hours.
Okay.
Via
wow.
Zoom, it says
3
way
hours.
longer than
In
that.
3 hours and 20 minutes at least.
All right. Well, let me
Uh-huh.
bring it to a close. I want to thank Heath Solo, even though he wasn't here.
We
Mike.
miss you, Heath.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Timm,
missed.
Gina, Jenny, Andy, and Axel. That's me. And I want to thank everyone who put we didn't get to all the lists
I'll
on
just call you
Facebook.
Billy.
I do like that. And all the lists on Facebook. We want to thank everyone who had those lists. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone for listening. You
And
can find
sorry
them-
if we missed your list.
Yeah, sorry if we missed your list. You can find out more about us at dvrpodcast.com. Jenny, just thought
See
you
you
might
later. Say hi to
Gina,
your
yeah.
moms for me. I thought we were like just like there you go.
There we go.
Anything to say,
Say hi to
Gina?
your moms for me.
Gina, I think is frozen.
Yep, I think she is too.
It's but she's frozen where she looks like she's just about to talk.
Yep, she's ready to say something.
All right,
All right.
that's it. I'm hitting end. You guys are awesome. This really was this was a party. This was so much fun. This was like
It was fun.
end of the year party. Love you
Bye,
all.
everyone. Love you.
Peace out.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Say hi to your moms.
Wait, how do I end it on Facebook first? Do I end it here? What the hell do I do? I don't even know what to do. All right, I'm going to try. Hold on. Wait. End meeting for all. Goodbye.